Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, Adab, Sat Shri Akal. My name is Pavleen Gujral, and I welcome you all to this beautiful evening today with startups. I welcome you all to the Digital Startup Pitch Night, fondly called DSPN. Not to be confused with ESPN, but believe you me, we do not lack in any of the excitement, any of the gusto, and any of the enthusiasm. You will see while the evening progresses. So we all gathered here for something really important. Something magical is going to happen on this stage. Well, not literally. Magic for the people who will be coming on this stage. Who knows what lies ahead? We are building a bridge between these startups and our investors. Our superstars for the evening, the front row of this show, are fantastic superstars. We'll get to them in a bit. But first, let's test the enthusiasm in this room. This is a power pack room full of power. So let's test it. How's everybody feeling? One person is feeling on top of the world. There's got to be more people joining him. Okay, so I'm going to ask you again. Behind him, everybody's behind him. We want everybody to be together tonight. Okay, so how's everybody feeling? All right, we're getting there. So to get there, to get that energy going, because you are going to be witnessing something really important, we have to have that energy. So we're going to do a little bit of an exercise. Everybody ready? Okay, something very simple. We call it the shake it off. So we're going to have to shake off all that loose energy, get some great energy going, because there's going to be some great energy on the stage and we have to match it, correct? All right. So everybody on the count of three, raise your hands, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to shake off all that loose energy. Come on, shake it off. Shake, 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 shake. I mean, I can't raise both my hands, but you guys can. Raise both your hands, come on. Shake off that loose energy, get some great energy going. All right, we can do some woohoos also here. Woo! Thank you so much. What a fantastic audience. Everybody was telling me they're very serious and all. I was like, no, I don't believe them. You are a fantastic audience. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving on. This is a night of startups. So how can we begin without a startup success story? So I was doing my research and I found this really interesting story I came across. And I'm sure some of you must know about it. So this gentleman, who is now one of the richest Indians in the country, when he was like 27, he was an ineligible bachelor because he was earning like 10,000 rupees a month. And nobody would want to marry him. The parents were not getting any marriage proposals. And today he's one of the richest Indians. Any guesses? Any guesses who he is? Oh, wow, this is a smart group. Who said Somebody said something. Somebody said Paytm. Who said Paytm? Please don't be scared. Oh, that gentleman right there. Hello, sir. Do you know a continuation of the story? Do tell.
Yeah, actually, I know a little bit about the founder of Paytm. He has a very मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रगल किया उन्होंने अपने जर्नी के डूइंग में एंड परसिवरेंस उन्होंने रखा अपने अंदर एंड Paytm is now everyone is seeing like it's a biggest payment system in our country.
Yeah, it's the best way to pay. I use it.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Sure.
Even
Do you
Google
use
पे
it?
yeah Google पे fail हो जाता है लेकिन Paytm fail नहीं होता है.
We even pay the Paytm, the auto wala, right?
Exactly.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. You are very well informed, sir. Thank you. So that is Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who at the age of 27 was told to leave his job where he was earning measly 10,000 rupees a month because तुम्हारे लिए कोई रिश्ते नहीं आ रहे. It was like that. And then he founded Paytm in 20, he founded Paytm in 2010 in Noida. And then after an investment, now that is the operative word. What constitutes a success story? Idea, Sarji? Nah, that's not enough. You don't just need an idea. You need somebody to fund that idea, to make it possible, to actually make it work in the ground reality. And that's exactly what happened to Vijay. He started Paytm in Noida, and then a 2 million investment came along. And that's when things just changed. Recently, the Warren Buffett-owned investment powerhouse invested in the IPO shares of Paytm and made a profit of $16 million. Oh my God, that is just brilliant. But it all started with that 2 million investment. Now, those are the kind of success stories we want to build today, right here. Because we have the means, we have everything possible to make it possible, and we are trying to make it possible right here. So I thought let's start the night with a story like that, and let's build more stories like that today. Are you with me? Yes. I love this gentleman right here. He's with me no matter what I ask. Sir, fantastic. You be right there the whole night. Thank you so much. Are you all with me? Yes. Thank you so much. So to take the story forward, we have the gentleman who started this all. The next gentleman doesn't need any introduction. All of you know him quite well. Shailendra Kumar. Sir, you're completing my sentences also. Huge round of applause for our next speaker, but let me introduce him a little bit more. आप मुझे introduce भी नहीं करने देंगे. I can't say more. Words are less for this gentleman. He is the daddy of all that is happening tonight. So, without further ado.
Thank you. I don't need my. Wow. Actually, I'm so thrilled. You know, 2 months ago, 19th of May, I landed in Delhi, and I had an idea. And the idea was very simple, that there are startups and there are investors. How do we get them to meet? And from 19th of May, today is 21st of July, in 2 months, this has happened. I was, I'm stumped. Before I start, I would like to thank Ashwini Sharma, who actually thought that this could be this big. I was thinking that there would be there'll be a hotel, we will have a projector, and there will be a little presentation projected on the projector, and that will be all. But their team worked day and night and made this happen. It can happen in 2 months. They always told me, "Itna bada project hai, it will take you at least 6 to 8 months." I said, "Nahi yaar, 2 mahine mein karenge." And the guys stuck to me. They worked day in, day out, thinking about how to make this such a big success story. I was 2 days ago when I walked in here, and they said कि ये पूरा wall पे एक digital screen होगा. तो मैंने कहा पागल हो गए, यहाँ पे थोड़ी ना होता है, ये तो चाइना में होता है, मगर यहाँ पे भी होता है. So I'm so thankful to Mike and the team. The guys have worked day in, day out. So please, a round of applause for them. So that was first. So why are we here? Startups. And before that, this is world's first ever Phygital Startup Pitch Night. And this is a series. So this is the first one. We will have an event every 6 to 8 weeks going forward. And this will be a sequence. This is the first one. It is Phygital, which means you guys are watching here, and there are approximately potentially 3 million people who are watching this live on social media. We are gone live on 10 different properties at the time. At this moment, we are live on 10 different properties and lots of websites. I don't even have a count of that. So potentially more than 3 million people are watching this live at the moment. So you guys are going live. So coming back to the idea was all of the startups, they work too much, they work hard, but most of the time they're looking internally and they're looking for funding. There are two things they do: look for funding and they work hard. There are techies, right? So I thought, let's get beyond that. So we work on 5 pillars, and I'll try to stitch that together very, very quickly. The first pillar is funding. And when I started this thought process, we were talking about funding, and everyone said, "अरे ये तो हर फ्राइडे को होता है, क्या नाम है, Zoom पे चलता है, और लोग इन्वेस्टर्स इधर बैठे होते हैं और स्टार्टअप्स पिच करते हैं, ये तो रोज होता है, so what's the new thing?" So I said, yeah, idea तो बहुत बढ़िया है, new thing तो कुछ भी नहीं है इसमें. So I said, we'll go phygital, we'll go live globally. That was my one thought point. But then, as we progressed, we started adding more pillars to it. Brand recognition. Tell me, how many startup CEOs do we know before they even make something? We don't. We never hear about them. In fact, even if they become a unicorn, even then we don't hear about them. We don't know the CEOs. So I wanted to talk about the personality behind those guys. I wanted them to come on stage, talk to the audience, talk to the world about their brand, the brand of those CEOs. Thirdly, global visibility. All the startups that I've seen are always looking inwards. They're techies, they're doing their work. They don't go global, they never get global visibility. They don't get visibility to the next kirana, chai wala. No one knows them. No one knows their brand. So how do you make sure that these startups go global? When they come to the stage, everyone watches them. And when they go with the product in the market, people know them upfront. So that was the idea behind it. And then mentoring, we were thinking, okay, is it only funding or is it only branding? There is more to it. Do the startups know how to manage their HR? Do the startups know how to manage their funds? Do the startup CEOs, do they know how to manage their operations? So how do you get that? And so we said, we should have mentorship there. We should have people who are coming from the industry, help them, guide them. So people like you are here. And finally, networking. And I'll tell you, as I told you about that idea, I had the idea, and when I was very excited about it, that this is going to be the next big thing. And when I spoke to a few other people, they said, इसमें थोड़ा सा change कर ले, तो कुछ और हो जाएगा. And that's what we kept on doing. If I had not got that kind of relationships with these senior leaders in the industry, this would have not come where it is content-wise. So all the guys here, whether that was Sanjay from Accenture or Amit from PwC, Utpal, we discussed and we said, is there an opportunity for a startup to meet senior leaders and bounce that idea now before they get on there? So 5 pillars that we've got, and we are taking that to market. You guys, so this whole house, actually full house at the moment, is now full of investors, senior leaders from the industry. And you guys will get to see these startups. We are here to bring these startups on a journey to become superstars. You are the these startups are the startup CEOs are the superstars, and we are here to help them. So guys, I'll take my leave because this is a startup night. I had nothing to say more than this. Please, we are trying to get startups here on the stage, startup CEOs or founders on the stage, and they range from someone thinking very junior coming out of the college and trying to do something to a company which has already made millions. So you'll see a paradigm here. You'll see a huge shift from one place to another. One more thing, please be kind to these startup CEOs because not everyone is made for stage. So if you see someone fumbling, if you see someone getting nervous, please give them some encouragement, and that will be required. So thank you very much, guys, and enjoy yourselves. Keep ready for the questions that you ask from the founders and the CEOs who come on and talk about their product, their services. Please do. Thank you very much and enjoy yourselves. Bye. By the way, welcome to the world's first ever Phygital Startup Pitch Night. It's called Digital Startup Pitch Night. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shailendra. I thought for a minute there you're going to take away my job and not leave the mic. But thank you so much. You're so good at it. That's why we just wanted to hear you talk even more and more. So, like Shailendra said, this is the first Phygital event, which is the Digital Startup Pitch Night. DSPN. Are we excited for DSPN? Okay, we'll get there, we'll get there. We have somebody here who is going to get the excitement going even more, but let me introduce him before calling him on. Mr. Sanjay Sharma, the Managing Director of Accenture Applied Intelligence, is a thought leader and inspiration for many in the analytics community. He has 25 plus years of experience in marketing across multiple industries and geographies. Sanjay has worked for a large number of leading global brands, consulting them in customer marketing and sales. He has led many innovations and is a co-inventor in 4 patents in the field of application of digital technology for business solutions in marketing and optimization. Can I have a huge round of applause for Mr. Sanjay Sharma? Good evening, Mr. Sanjay. A few words from you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shailen, for getting me here. What I like most about these events is the introduction. You know, that introduction, you start feeling that you are better than, what you think you are. So I'll keep all that noted and I'll keep on reminding me that, it's not that bad. Thank you very much for getting me here. Let me use next few minutes in having this conversation going on about my thoughts about startup and digital, etc. I have not done any startup, but I have been meeting several people in my official capacity as well as in my personal capacity in different, big company, small company, very small company. I have been associated with few acquisitions as well, where we evaluated this startup, various vintage, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years, etc. Right? So I'm coming from that perspective. I'm not bringing any number, no statistics, etc. Let's talk a little bit at a higher level, at a more of a philosophical level, right? And to begin with, I would avoid the word digital here, right? I do not know why we keep on using digital. We use digital globally, but digital is all pervasive now. Tell me something which is not digital, startup or non-startup, right? So for a minute, I'll suppress digital and I'll focus on startup, and then we come to the digital. And in this conversation, let me ask a question, and you answer yourself in your mind. Somebody opens a tea shop on a corner. Is it a startup? One of the leaders in India said, "Pakoda koi tal ke bechega," and people laughed at it. Is it a startup? And whenever I ask this question, there are some giggles. Some people are thinking this is a joke. Some people are, having an amused smile on their face. The fact is, it is a startup, but it is not the kind of startup we have in our mind. This is not the kind of startup which we are going to talk today, right? So what are those 2-3 characteristics which I see when I see this startup ecosystem and the way it evolves? I see 3 components, 3 characteristics. One is the innovation. The second is creative destruction. And third is growth. And I'll come back to it. Now, let's bring this whole dynamic in a bolder relief, and let's focus on what is the incumbent, what is not startup. So when you look at the incumbent companies or entities, these are always very well entrenched. And many of them are working with a sort of, you can call it in innovation terminology, dominant design. Dominant design is a very stable design. Something like bicycle. All bicycles have two wheels, etc., one powertrain, pedal wheel in the middle, etc. Look at the bicycles 200 years ago, 150 years ago. The design was not stable. It was evolving, right? So it has reached a dominant design. So dominant design is the best example of a stable incumbent, and many of them would be close to it. And what these incumbents are doing, right? They are creating a moat. They are creating some sort of fortress and a moat around that fortress to defend themselves. They don't want any newcomer inside. That moat could be a different barrier of entry that, in form of maybe capital requirement, maybe technology, maybe market reach, maybe regulatory something, right? So they don't want you anywhere clear, right? If you have a company with a strong dominant design, it is impossible to meet them head on. And we all have seen that dominant designs or close to them. We shave every day, particularly males shave every day, right? We use Gillette. Every next razor could be 25th blade in it, but the design in dominant. And the position is so strong, you cannot beat Gillette head on. That's where the startup figure out, and most of the startups which are sitting over there might have figured that out. Thinking about it, I'm trying to give a little bit of structure. Most of them start to figure out, how do I beat it, right? And that's why they use innovation to find a via media. Paytm is a good example, right? Regulation protects banking. So that's a moat. Nobody can be a banker so easy, right? And the Paytm guys, through fintech technology, figured out a way. What do I do, right? Medical supplies, right? That was again regulatory driven. Then 1mg and NetMed, etc. They figured out something, right? So you use innovation in terms of concept, idea, innovation in terms of product, technology, process. Innovation could be in terms of access to market, or a combination of those, right? So that innovation at the heart of it. If you are not in innovation, the startup would be chai wala startup. If it is innovation, it could be Chayos, which is significantly different, right? So that's one. The second is creative destruction. When you are using this via media and figure out something, you are destroying something, right? You are destroying a moat and getting into the business and taking some of the business away. Over a period of time, there would be some relationship with those incumbents, but that creative destruction is happening, right? Within the startup also, guys, try to take the advice from what we call in the stock market, or people talk in all leading companies: win big, fail fast. In stock market, they say, run your profit, cut your losses, right? So experimentation, try to access whether it is not going to work. Don't get swayed by the funding money, which is coming relatively easily or not so easily. Keep on evaluating. I have heard a number of PEs talking about, these guys are peeing away my money. These are their words, not my words. Right? So win fast, fail fast. So creative destruction, it is happening within you. It is happening with some other startups. It is happening with that incumbent which you are fighting off. Third is the growth. Right? If you are not scaling, none of you were happy about listening about the chaiwala, because the growth dimension was not coming to it, right? So whenever we make plan, all those successful startups, when they are making plan or whatever, that scale up is there in the mind. If the scale story is not a part of your story, then perhaps this is not worth spending a lot of time, right? Now that scale can happen through your endeavors. That scale can happen with joining hands with an incumbent at some point of time, and that is happening in most of the company in the technology space where I am, and many of my colleagues are there from different other companies, right? We are incumbents, but we keep on looking who could be a joint venture, who could be a strategic partner for us, etc. And that's why you can join hands, etc. But this third dimension, the growth and scale, this becomes very, very important, right? Now let us come to the digital part. So everything else is happening in digital. It has to be digital, right? So digital helps you reach out to different markets, etc. I give you some idea which came to my mind, when I was talking to somebody. Suppose I belong to Mithilanchal, and people in Mithilanchal are using certain condiments, something masala, certain recipes. Those condiment masalas are not available here in Delhi to me. And there are many Mithilanchalis at different places, right? Maybe it is a good idea to bring that condiments there and sell that. Just an idea. But how do I reach out? This is a dispersed crowd. And that's where I get into digital and digital related stuff, right? So through this channel, I'm reaching out to people. Through this channel, identifying who are the Mithilanchalis. Then I'm figuring out who are the lookalikes for Mithilanchalis who could be adjacent, closer to them, finding that. Then I'm finding out who could be liking this kind of a cuisine or this kind of a condiments, etc., who are not at all Mithilanchali, maybe even completely from different regions, so on and so forth. That's why digital comes out. Last and very simple, straightforward, strong advice for the all startups. It is not about digital. We are talking about digital, but startup is not about digital. Startup is about business, right? So think very carefully about how this is going to scale up and how this is going to be monetized. You do not want your investors to say, these guys are peeing away my money, right? And I see many times, particularly in digital sphere, we come from the product background or a service background or a digital background. We fall in love with our product or whatever idea which we have, and we lose the sight of how we are going to be monetized, what is going to mean for the customer and user, what value it will create, and how I take a share of that value, right? So this is the last very, very important part. Last 6 months, at least half of the idea which I heard had this very poor dimension in terms of monetizing it. So they are not thinking it from the business perspective. These are the few things for the startups particularly. I think the seasoned people already know this, but I wanted to give a little bit of structure to the thinking which could be useful for them. And that's what it is, Pavleen. I won't take too much of time any further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma. Thank you for that very insightful conversation with all of us here. Thank you. In a nutshell, Mr. Sharma has enunciated what we are going to do here tonight. Like we mentioned, there are going to be some startups who will be pitching to our superstars right here. The nitty-gritties are that each startup is going to get only 10 minutes on this stage. Out of those 10 minutes, they will speak or present for 5 minutes, and the rest of the time will be a Q&A, which is the most important. So our superstars are going to get an opportunity to ask questions, and then we're going to move on to the audience, because I'm sure the power pack here, this whole room is power packed, also will have some questions. All right then, moving on. Now we are going to introduce the most important people in the room, our superstars. Firstly, I would like everybody to give a huge round of applause for our superstars right here. This would not have been possible without their participation. And I would like to introduce them one by one. And I would request each superstar to kindly get up from their places and behave like superstars and gently wave to everybody if possible. I see the smiles on your faces, sir, and I'm sure you'll like that. We would like that as well. All right, moving on. Our first superstar for the night is Miss Gita Goyal. Wow. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being here. A little bit about her. The MD of Michael and Susan Dell Foundation in India. She was the chairperson for Impact Investors Council from 2017 to 19. In 2020, she was nominated by Forbes amongst the 20 power women changing the game. An independent director on the boards of Home First Finance, Equitas Small Finance Bank, and UTI Capital. In the true sense, a boss woman. A huge round of applause for Ms. Gita Goyal, please. Thank you so much. Our next superstar is Mr. Girish Shivani, who is yes, an applause would be appropriate right now. Welcome, sir. The founder of Your Nest VC, an early stage fund sharply focused on investing in IP-led product innovations from India, selling to enterprises across the globe. At Your Nest, he is responsible for developing the investment strategy. Girish has experience in telecom, media, IT consulting, and financial services. He also spots emerging trends, which is exactly what he's doing here tonight. Identifying investment opportunities, monitoring and reviewing progress at portfolio companies, and hand-holding them for building robust processes leading to their success. Sir, you have all the makings of a superstar. We need you right here. So glad that you're here. A huge round of applause for Mr. Girish right here. These startups need all the mentoring that they can get. And our superstars are going to be doing just that. And of course, first scrutinizing them. We'll wait for that. Our next superstar is Mr. Anshul Kumar. He's the founder of India Accelerator. Huge round of applause for Mr. Kumar, please. Thank you, sir. The founder of India Accelerator, Ashish, is a highly experienced leader and strategist with over 25 years in leadership positions at reputed MNCs. He has a successful stint in building up the startup ecosystem. Happy to have you, sir. Ashish founded India Accelerator IA, the leading seed stage accelerator program in the country, in April 2017. And IA is one of the fastest growing accelerator in Asia and is on its way to be India's most powerful startup accelerator. He's a key player in the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem and has invested in 130 plus companies through IA. Well, sir, I hope you spread some of that magic here tonight as well. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm announcing the superstars tonight, right here. So I would appreciate a bigger round of applause. I think we can do that. Thank you. But this time I was talking. Next time when I talk about the superstar, that's the kind of applause that should be going on for a couple of minutes. Next up, we have Mr. Vikas Nahar. Happy to have you here, sir. Vikas Nahar, the founder and CEO of Happilo. Oh, sir, I've used your products. They're lovely. Happilo was born out of this ambitious move and stands today as one of India's leading suppliers of premium, calorie-conscious, nutrient-rich snacks. Nahar was also crowned as one of the Times 40 under 40. And with Vikas Nahar at the helm, Happilo has seen exponential growth from its inception on September 10th, 2016 to now, having 160 plus employees, strong with the recent 100 crore funding. His business plans include financial growth, bolstering new startups in the market with the same message, and ultimately adding value to the concept of healthy eating by means of strategic R&D and innovative product creation. Woo, healthy eating, I get you, sir, I get you. Huge round of applause for Vikas here. Our next superstar is Mr. Sarthak Bakshi. Welcome, Sarthak. Founder and CEO of Risa IVF, which has 12 centers in India and 3 in Nepal. A serial entrepreneur and promoter, an angel investor, and board of director with various companies. He's also been named under the Forbes 30 under 30 Asia. Happy to have you, Sarthak. A huge round of applause for him, please. Our next superstar is Mr. Abhishek Gerg. Welcome, sir. A second-generation wedding expert with over 15 years of experience in every facet of the wedding and event industry. Sir, we'll talk later. With his online B2B wedding portal, dulhania.com, doing tremendously well. He has also founded the B Team, an event company providing 360-degree services pan-India. He has also invested in the Indian Hospitality Network, IHN, and a one-of-a-kind global membership association. He has also invested in Travel Daddy and InstaBaby, a travel vertical. So what is next on his investment canvas? Well, we might just find out tonight. Happy to have you here, sir. Huge round of applause for Mr. Abhishek Gerg. And the last one, but not the least, of our superstars, for which I think the applause should go longer because it has not been justified till now. All right? Do we promise to show some energy tonight? Okay, I'm asking again. Are we ready for the next step? Yes, fantastic. So the last superstar, but not the least, for the evening is Mr. Gaurav Goyal. Welcome, Mr. Goyal, a national head for e-commerce and fintech of Yes Bank, a business leader with almost 2 decades of experience across various sectors, led growth and business development in SME, lending branch banking, and retail asset across India. A strong focus on team development, growth hiring, and grooming leadership. Fantastic to have you here, sir. Huge round of applause to Mr. Gaurav Goyal. Well, that brings us to the moment of reckoning that we all have been waiting for. Our startups. They are really, really nervous, but I've told them that we have a room full of very kind people and lovely power pack. So before they come on stage and before I introduce the first startup of the evening, of course, I have to mention the nitty-gritties here again, that they will each get 10 minutes on stage, 5 minutes out of which they will have to pitch or present, and then the rest of the 5 minutes
No, that's true.
apologies for the little mix up there. That happens when events are of such high energy. I'm sure sir understands that. All right, moving on. Like I said, we are going to be introducing our startups here tonight, and they are going to have 10 minutes on stage, 5 minutes to pitch, to speak, and the rest of the 5 minutes, the floor is going to be open for questions. First, we are going to go to the superstars who will be pitching, who will be asking the questions to the startups, and then we move on to the audience if we have enough time. All right. But before we begin, I have to know that there's plenty of energy here to witness these startups because they are really, really nervous. And I've told them I'll handle it. So a huge round of applause for our startups who are going to be on stage. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, then let's get down to business. Our first startup for the night is Khanna, started by Ankur Marda, who is a serial entrepreneur with more than 22 years of experience scaling up businesses with multi-city operations. Ankur's previous stints have involved selling services to corporate clients.
Great. You order a pizza, and I will also pick up a donut for the evening. And Gohana has got some good discounts on it. Wow. I'm sharing this group buying offer in our WhatsApp group so that all of us get a discount. Thanks, Shivana. Love this group buying feature. We are all set for the evening. Wow, how easily I can see all the information using the Gohana app. Not quite happy with these negative feelings. Let me walk us through the category and how to bring them. Gohana, the app for your complete business analytics. Hey, let me order the food for all of us today. try this for all of us? Yes, sure. Guys, the order is in place. Oh wow! From where did you order so quickly? Gokana, it's a great app with best food deals. Oh, that's nice.
Gokana, the one-stop app for all your food cravings. Thank God, really saved my time by using Gokana. It was taking such a long time on it.
Are you waiting for payments from vendors? No more.
Wow, I need not follow up continuously with the food vendors for the payments anymore. Gokana app made my life easier.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Yeah. I'm Ankur from Gokana. I think I'm the first one here, so a lot of pressure to set the tone right is what I can feel for sure. Just a small video, which I guess spoke of what we are doing right now. At Gokana, we are three founders. Between me, Hitesh, and Ashish, we manage the various functionalities at Gokana. We are a food tech startup wherein we started in about 2017, where we started building our product. And between us, we went live at around 2019, where corporates had, I mean, there are a lot of people from corporate world right now is what I know. So corporates had these cafeterias inside where there was an issue where everything was so non-digital and there were no data points present to really evaluate what's happening. So we started on our journey where we started digitizing the whole food space. We are the Swiggy for corporates inside the corporate park, wherein as a user, as employees are able to see all the food options available at the cafeteria, order well ahead in time, walk into the cafeteria, eat, which gives them convenience to maybe chit chat with their friends and colleagues rather than, you know, really standing at a food counter. That's this thing. What we always believed is to add value to all our stakeholders, whether it's the user, the employee, or the admins who get a lot of data once everything is brought onto a platform, or the food vendor whom we given so much of analytics to be able to get the right quantity of food and avoid wastage and pilferage in the whole system. This is our phase one, where we wanted to enter the corporate space, get the employees hooked on, and now we have started our journey. In the last 5 years, we are starting our journey towards the B2C space, where we add in a lot more options to these users that we have on our platform, introduce them to various options outside in the B2C space, where whether it's a restaurant, at their apartment, everywhere. So B2B2C is what we call ourselves in the food tech space, is what we are doing. We bring in a lot of efficiency in the whole system and convenience for our users. What we are doing right now, pandemic obviously was very bad because we were all corporate pre-pandemic, but it gave us a lot of time to really redo and take it up to the next level. Everything has started right now. So we are presently growing anywhere between 30 to 50% month on month. I'm telling you month on month right now as corporates have started back. Last month we would have closed with annual rate of about 50 crores GMV at a revenue of about 6 CR, which is growing. FY27, come FY27, we are projected to be growing at a 210% CAGR with a $320 million revenue with a 76% gross margin is what we are looking at. And we are here to be, our target is to be one amongst the top 3 food tech apps in the country. And we are all in set for doing that. We have raised 2 rounds so far and loving our journey in this space. So over to you. I mean, I guess my timer is done and I'm done with this thing. So over to you on the questions. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ankur. That was truly a lovely, lovely pitch.
Thank you.
You got me hooked, so you have one fan in the room. So.
Thank you.
Any questions from our lovely superstars? for Ankur here.
Yes. Hi, Ankur.
Yeah, hi.
What I'm trying to understand is what you've created for corporates and its employees, whereas your monetization model is from both sides, from the vendor itself who's making the food and the corporates who are also in employees who are also using the app, or for them it's a free thing that they're getting group discounts and everything.
Yeah, it's free for the employees. We cannot really monetize the user for sure as now in India.
So it's only the vendor.
So it's more from the vendors, and a lot of cases it's from the corporates, where we work on a model where a corporate pays us for the services, and there are places where a vendor pays in. Vendor does not really pay in. We bring in an efficiency of at least about a 15% in their system. So we just take a share out of the whole thing.
So the thing that I wasn't able to understand is the USP is for the vendors that they're getting a lot of analytics, as you said, or is it for the employees that they're just cutting out the wait time, or you're trying to be the Zomato Swiggy for them in a very small area? What is exactly the play for GoKhana, that it's a must for every food court out there so that it cuts the digital time, wait time for the persons who are about to, who have already thought out in the mind what they want to order? Or is it it's less to do with the people ordering through GoKhana, but more to do with the vendors, that they are able to understand something which was probably not clear to them?
Yeah, so like I said, we like to bring in value to all stakeholders. So in our first stage, where there are three stakeholders, there are employees, there are vendors, and there is the admin facility team. From an employee point of view, we bring in a lot of convenience where he does not really have to go and buy a token for a masala dosa and wait for it, literally wait over the counter for 10 minutes. Otherwise, they'll give it to someone else. Everything is all, systematic, and you get your notification to pick it up. That's from the employee point of view. From an admin point of view, there's a lot of data point. Pre-digitization, they never knew what is who doing. Do we give them a price hike? Is the P&L fine? Is the food going to get ready over, or there will be a wastage? So we give a lot of data to really predict as to what's the quantity that each of these vendors get, and help everybody in the system. And the third that we are talking about is the food vendor, right? So food vendor, obviously, we help them reduce their wastage. We make sure that the food is available till time with our, AI/ML, with a time series demand generation that we give it to them. And second, there is a big pilferage of about, average is a 15% pilferage, which is there in a non-digitized form, which is clean revenue for a vendor. So we add value to everybody's kitty.
Ankur, my name is Anshul Kumar.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. I just want to understand the adoption. See, I have been into corporates and I have eaten food in the food courts. Idea is that, it'll be never adopted via the employees. I think it has to be from the corporates. So what are your expectations of adoption rates in the B2B segment? B2C, we can talk later, but I'm asking about the adoption which you think are in the B2B space from the corporates at the moment.
Okay, so good one, I would say. Pre-pandemic, it was a little difficult. It was difficult, but it was beginning to pick up. But pandemic, it came to zero. But the best thing that happened with pandemic is the adoption to digital has gone multifold, whether you talk about any angle in the pandemic. 2-3 things I think happened. As a user, I think each of us downloaded those 20-30 apps to make sure that everything is coming to our house. So that pushback from employees, as we have started back, is almost negligibly zero, which was there pre-pandemic. And 2, now everybody wants to be everything digital. Reason being, people are coming in smaller numbers. RTO is very low. So, how do you make sure that it works out for the vendor partner? It works out for the admin to give the right choice and this thing. So it has been almost zero resistance, I would say. Even with very little corporate starting, we are present across 200 cafeterias across 13 cities, 12 cities that we work as we speak now. We have been growing 30 to 50% month on month. And wherever we operate, it's 100% digital. I mean, there is no switch. It's a switch on, switch off button. We will do it in some days.
So 2 aspects. One, you said corporates. I feel a lot of corporates are going hybrid. That has given you a dent on your TAM. Do you think that?
Not really. We also have a hybrid model where we were doing a lot of meal delivery with integrations with Dunzo and VFast to their house, which really helped us get a lot of traction and contracts. And second thing, hybrid is very good for us. Reason being, every corporate has grown by 20-30% on their employee base. So what it means is, maybe I'm coming to office only 3 days a week. And if it was a 1,000-seater office, all 1,000 are full. And when I come 3 days a week,
the usage on cafeteria has increased, and we are able to see those initial data points. So the average sales out of that same office space is going to be a lot more higher, and we charge a revenue per, revenue percentage of the revenue. So I guess it's pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, hi Ankur.
Hi.
Yes, sir, please.
Can I?
We are out of time though, but if it
one
is a
quick-
short question.
Yeah, I have a couple of them. So
Yes.
one thing is like, you're largely focusing at corporates, right? So how do you think you can actually extend it to say travel retail or in terms of malls and all? Do you see a synergy there? Because you already have a tech where you can do integrations with leading malls and airports and other places because they work on revenue share model, and they will also have their own running softwares as well. How do you see you can make a math there? And secondly, how much you have raised so far, at what valuation, and how much are you trying to raise today, at what valuation?
Okay. So again, corporates is stage one. We have always believed we have already started on our stage two, where we are working with most of the large builders to do their open tech park food court, which is the next level where 20 companies in their tech park are using. So we work with 10 of the largest builders in the country for sure. Malls, we have already done our POC with a large mall on how to take it up. We have signed up with 2 malls in NCR where the whole mall would run, the food court of the mall would run on us. We have done POCs with restaurants. So again, a good thing about pandemic is all of us have now come to know how do you use a QR code to order in a restaurant. Why do we need a waiter? That's where we started our whole journey. And I think we had always predicted it will be 5 years before we really start using our phone as a waiter. But this pandemic has just preponed everything by 5 to 10 years, I can say. And we would certainly have you talk to a Gokhana phone instead of that waiter, because it will have a lot more intelligence than what the waiter can give you at the restaurant.
Ankur, last one. Would like
If
to
she
know
allows.
about founders. A quick brief about all you 3 people. What do you do in the space for Gokhana? All 3 members or founders.
Yeah, I am Ankur. Basically, I've been into business for last 20 years, very unlike a startup. So I am from a business background before I jumped into something like this. Being into multiple businesses at a time, 5 to 6 things with multiple city operations, managing large teams of 300, 500 people, and everything to do with corporates. So that's why I have that connect with corporates, which helped me. Then I have Hitesh, who's my co-founder, who had been working with me in a few businesses together. I know him like since my childhood days. We were socially active, where we were president secretary of a youth wing in our early days for about 5 to 10 years. Then there's Ashish, who's my high school friend. We were there in school together till our 10th standard. He moved on to US, did his graduation there, PwC tech consulting. So he's the tech brain behind what we are doing. Moved back to India. He didn't like the politics in India, I guess. He's a US citizen. So we all decided to come together and take up this job.
Thank you so much.
Ankur, this is Rohit. You missed a question from Vikas. How much you are looking to raise? And secondly, very quickly, can you tell us which type of corporates you work with?
Yeah, we to name a few, we work with the largest of all. We work with Capgemini, we work with NatWest, we work with First Source All India, we work with WPP, we work with about 100 odd corporates that we have already signed, and talking to at least about 200 others who would close in the next 1 year. We have raised 2 rounds. Sorry, I missed answering that question. We have raised 2 rounds. The last round raised was at about a 31.5 CR pre-money valuation. We are raising a $3 million right now. We are in the middle of it. We have started the process already. A term sheet already done. 30% of commitment done. We are raising about 25 crores at a 300 crores valuation. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ankur. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to all our superstars, and especially to Mr. Anshul Kumar for asking the pertinent questions. And can I just take this opportunity to introduce you, Mr. Anshul Kumar, who is heading the analytics function at Wingify and is managing teams in data, warehousing, business analytics, and machine learning. Sir, if you could do the honors, get up and take the superstar bow. A huge round of applause for Mr. Anshul Kumar, please. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Well, moving on. I feel like the time limit was not really respected in the last one, but that's great. We want more questions from you for our startups here. And I would request all the startups to kindly ask the most pertinent question: how much money do you want? So that is the most important question, and we would really appreciate if you end with that as well. So the next startup is Pay Kio by Jitender Singh Dahia, who is the co-founder and CEO. He's a banking professional with 18 years of experience in handling trade and foreign exchange. He's also an author of the book Pep Hack, Mastering the Art of Selling. He also runs a YouTube channel, Read Double E My Story, and shares the stories of people who can motivate and inspire others, much like he's doing tonight. Please put your hands together for Jitender Singh Dahia, Pekio.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, I am Jitender Singh Dahia and Santosh with me. We are representing Rocket Pay Private Limited. We have a brand which is Pekio. And in this brand, what we do is we are focusing on Indo-Nepal payment solution. So first thing first, how the idea of Indo-Nepal payment comes in. So it was in 2016, we heard about the earthquake in Nepal. Bhagwati Nyupane, the founder of Pekio. So she was from Nepal. She has to make some payments to her family in Nepal to help them, support them. So as we know, the payment takes 2 days, 2 working days from India to Nepal. And she wanted to make the money fast, but she could not do it. So that's why she and Santosh, her husband, they were thinking of an idea like what we can do to make it fast, make it channelized, so that people who are Nepalis staying in India, they can make faster remittances to Nepal. So for an surprise, I'll tell you the numbers. Around 10 million Nepali people staying in India, working in India, studying in India, and total population of Nepal is around 30 million. So apart from people staying in India, globally around 8 million Nepali people are working and studying. So they are making remittances to Nepal in tune to 960 billion, which is really huge. And if we talk about remittances from India to Nepal is around 14% of the total remittances. And also people in Nepal making outward remittances is in tune to 230 to 40 crores, which is 240 billion, which is again huge. If we talk about the total sum, it comes out to be around 1200 billion. That is really huge. So we are targeting that market. Indo-Nepal is the first thing which we would be working on. Gradually, we would be focusing our target on the global audience, which is around 8 million Nepalis staying abroad. So that would be our second stage. Apart from this, we are also working on other solutions to Nepali people who are who are staying in India and abroad. They can do all other recharge and bill payment services staying there itself with their international credit and debit cards and online banking as well. So this is what we are doing and how we are doing. And our ask for the day is around 5 CR, which comes out to be a dilution of around 8%. Thank you.
Thank you. Since you're such good orators, everybody wants my job here, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. A huge round of applause for our startup here. All right, the house is open for questions. Our superstars.
Hi,
Any
Jitendra.
questions?
Yeah, hi Jitendra. Are you?
Yes, Mr.
I'm
Sir.
assuming, are you Indian or you Nepali first of all?
Yeah, India to Nepal.
No, that is you are an Indian or you're a
No,
Nepal.
I am Indian.
You're an
My
Indian.
co-founder, she is Nepali.
She.
My wife is Nepali, so she is one of the co-founder.
Okay. So, Hazur kasto cha? Sab ramro cha?
Sab ramro cha.
Sab ramro cha. Uncha. So the point is, आप अच्छा है, आप एक digital finance startup करना चाह रहे हैं, and my basic question is, since I've worked in Nepal, I still have a lot of work in Nepal. I transfer money from SBI bank account that I have in SBI का नेपाल में है, PNB है, Western Union है. I have done transfers through all of them. It did not take me 2 days. It did not It can be done within the same day itself. Morning का morning में bank account to bank account आपको पता है सब हो जाता है. My basic question, जो आप कह रहे हैं कि पैसा नहीं पहुंच पाता है, पहुंच रहा है, मैंने खुद करा है. Where is the thing that where do I require PKO when I already have not the services that I've already named, ये तीन चार तो हैं, plus other services that I already know that are existing in between to transfer money between India and Nepal.
So I will give you the answer. So need of PayQ is currently there are three things which we think. So if you say SBI, so SBI has just started 1 or 2 years back. Now they will not sending everyone on that platform, and that take 3 to 4 days now. So if you check by transferring from SBI, it will take 3 to 4 working days, and the charges which you are taking is rates are also higher. So if I say if you are transferring 50,000 INR, so they are charging around 400 to 500 in conversion charge. So that is there. PNB, they are facilitating with visiting the branch. So what we have made a one portal. So if someone want to do recharge or utility bill payments in Nepal, so currently there are no option to pay from India. So if there are some 1-2 option, but they are taking like if one want to recharge 500 rupees, then he need to pay 800 to 900 rupees for doing recharge. So you can check that portal like ding.com. They are a global portal, but that is also not feasible, I think. For doing 500 recharge, you need to pay 800. Second, which we are bringing is a digital app-based platform where user will do one-time KYC and he will get the reference number instance and the payment will done on the same day. That is our directly arrangement and as per RBI regulation as well.
Sorry, just one follow-up question to that. You explained the RBI regulation. So, I mean, doesn't it sit on the banking system anyway, your app? And doesn't it make sense that as you go forward, it actually aligns with an SBI or a PNB or some banks there? Because otherwise, it becomes a very specialized niche app, and just the cost of acquiring customers, etc., becomes difficult.
Right. So banking system is enrolled because for accepting payment, we need banking system. So there are two models with us. One is user can pay directly from our app, so that he need to pay via UPI. So we have an arrangement with currently Prabhu Bank, who is approved from RBI. So they have two partners and they have recently tied up with us. So we are the third partner, like one SBI, and we are the third digital partner from Prabhu Bank. So sir must know because he's working in Nepal. So secondly, we have our vendors as well who are sitting in high populated area where Nepalis are mostly situated, like Darjeeling, West Bengal. So for their user, they do not use app, then they can reach to our vendor. That vendor will do that transaction in their behalf. There are two models for doing that.
So the numbers which I told you about is the number which is of the payment which is happening through banking channel. Apart from there, that the payments which is going from India to Nepal is huge. If you see the local markets like segregated markets, Gorakhpur is one of them. And I've seen the foreign currency market happening there is really huge. And that gray market area, these type of areas, they have huge lot of money exchanges happening across the border. And we are also targeting those markets so that we can channelize that money in a right way, through banking channels, because that money is huge. And also the revenue part would be there because we would be earning revenue from that money also. So that is another thing. And these people who are sending money, their white money, which is hardcore earned by them, they are making through a illegitimate channel. Now they would be able to do it on a legitimate channel, that too on a faster way, and that too in a digital way. They need not to visit any branch. So this is what we are trying to help them.
Jitender, Anshul this side. Jitender, when did you go live?
We are live on platform and Indo-Nepal thing, which we are expecting to get it live within a month or so. So we have done the sign off and everything is there. We just have to do our API integration.
So have you done any transactions?
Yeah, we are doing transactions related to like payments and recharges.
How many users?
Currently, we have we crossed 10,000 users, and out of which, because of KYC requirement in India and Nepal, we had to do a KYC run. Then we had to shorten our customer base, And now we have more than 3,300 active users who are making payments or recharges through our platform. And these customers are unique customers. Like everyone has done at least one transaction in a year.
Last
Minimum.
question, what is the average ticket size of the transaction?
So average ticket size, if we talk about, we are currently having 3 services related to bill payments, recharges, electricity payments, and DTH. So the average ticket size would be around 500 rupees for those transactions. 500? Yeah, for these type of transactions. When we talk about Indo-Nepal thing, then the average ticket size would be for Indo-Nepal payment around 25 to 50,000. 50,000 is the upper limit as per RBI prescribed limit, and out of which one person can make 12 transactions in a year, and one transaction cannot be over 50,000.
Pavleen, can I take up 2 questions?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Abhishek.
Yes.
So you mentioned 960 billion and 240 billion. So you were talking in USD, Indian rupees or Nepalese rupees?
INR.
INR. Okay, so you just mentioned 3,300 users. Are they active users? You mentioned already. You mentioned that already. Are they returning users or they are just active users?
They
that
are
minimum one
returning.
transaction is there.
Yeah, they are returning users. That's why we have called them unique customers, because they are active.
Okay. So I understand the average ticket size must be varying between 100 to maybe 1,000 or 2,000 rupees
100
because
to
electricity bill.
500 would be average ticket size. Some transaction would be of higher value and lower value also. Minimum would be 10 rupees.
So am I right in assuming that the monthly transaction right now is running average between 3 to 5 lakh rupees? If there are 3,000 users transacting for 100 rupees per month.
So currently our volumes are very low. If we talk about the annual run rate, so last year we did a business of around 24 lakhs. So like that is on an organic way. And these numbers are organic only. We have not done any kind of advertising promotions as of now.
Yeah. So I want to understand, how did you derive the value of 5 crore rupees for 8% valuation based on these number of users and the transaction size?
So like these are organic numbers. If we the number of transactions and the services which we would be offering on our platform, the number which we have taken is the lowest number possible for each transaction. And on the basis of that, how much we can contribute in terms of the revenue and business. So we have taken on the basis of that. And if we, what we have planned, if we execute that, within 4 to 5 years, we would be at a range we would be able to make 1,500 odd crores of business, and out of which 3 to 4% would be our revenue. So revenue front, we would be at 55 to 60 crores.
So you mentioned two figures with me. One is that SBI charges 500 rupees on a 50,000 rupee transaction, which amounts to 1%.
Right.
Which you are saying is pretty high and it's hence not sustainable.
Right.
On the other side, you are saying that you are going to perform at a 3 to 4% margin for your business.
3 to 4% across all products.
So there are 2-3 things. So if I say we are doing 2-3 things which are unique and will be the market leader. So if I say utility bill payment, so there we are charging payment gateway charges as a 2%, where we are receiving 3 to 4% as a operator margin. They are giving us margin. So that is our profit. In Indo-Nepal money transfer service, we are only taking the charges like 200 rupees for transfer. From that, we will be getting margin from our tie-ups. User do not have to pay single rupees extra on that. Wherein currently, if he is doing from SBI, he will need to pay 300 to 400. He is getting 300, 400 less in Nepal, and he is also paying some charges 300 to 400 here as well. So if I say the amount charges are more than 500 as well, because he is paying here as well, and they are getting less there as well. When if they are sending 50,000, they will receive 50,000. They will need only to pay 200 here, and from that 100 rupees we will get from our direct Prabhu Bank, which we have agreement signed.
So finally, if we put in 5 CR at 8% valuation, what are your projections for the next 3 years and 5 years? And where do you see the investor recouping their investment back?
So we have a projection.
So if we talk about the projection 5 years, what I was just conveying that within the projection which we have carried out across all products, so we are expecting to be at 1,500 crore over a period of 5 years. And if we talk about the revenue model, it would be around 3%, which comes out to be 57 crores to be precise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek. And thank you, Pekyo. We have time for one
everyone.
last question. One last question from the audience. We don't want to devoid you of that opportunity. Anybody in the audience would like to ask one last question, please? Can we hand them the mic?
Hello, my name is Chakshu Pandit. I would like to ask you, what is the invested amount into the company by the startups and the Prabhu Bank?
Sorry, didn't get your point.
What is the investment that has happened into the company?
What is the investment that has happened in the company?
So currently we have not raised any investment. Till now we have done with our funds only.
So
What
it's
is the amount of the
as
fund?
of now.
What is the amount of the fund that you have invested into the company?
So currently we have invested around 10 lakhs personal amount in this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pekyo, for
Thank
that
you
lovely,
very
lovely
much.
presentation. Thank you. But like it was mentioned about the question of, are you going live? Well, we are definitely live, and we have up to 3 million people watching all of us right now, including all of us industry stalwarts in this room and the fantastic Engage AI digital team. And we are being live streamed right now to reach all these 3 million people. So a big round of applause for this fabulous initiative that is started right here. Thank you. Moving on to our next startup. Now, this is the youngest of the lot, who's currently in the final year BTech of NIT Agartala, the founder of Water Drop. He's from Kolkata, West Bengal, and has started his entrepreneurial journey when he was in the second year of his engineering. I wouldn't like to say more. I would request him to kindly come up on stage and tell his journey. Rohit Pandey, Water Drop.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Myself Rohit Pandey.
Rohit, you're the one who knew about the Paytm.
Yeah.
Ah, you know your business well. All right, go on.
Okay, so currently I'm in 4th year of my engineering, and Water Drop we started just 2 months ago. The idea जो हम लोगों ने start किया था वो 3 months ago while I was living in Kolkata in a hostel. वहाँ पे मुझे idea के बारे में पता चला, and we are actually focused on the drinking water supply chain industry in cities. Like in cities, drinking water availability is very less. Like people have two options. एक option उनके पास ये है कि वो लोग अपने घर में वाटर फिल्टर लगा ले, या फिर सेकंड जो 20 लीटर्स के बड़े बड़े वाटर जार्स मिलते हैं, आई होप आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, उसको अपने घरों में डिलीवर कराते हैं. सो वी आर फोकसिंग on our first phase, we are focusing on the 20 liter water can delivery process. So right now if you need a 20 liter water jar, you have to call the supplier, and वो कॉल करने के बाद आपको ऑर्डर प्लेस करना पड़ेगा, फिर उसको एक बार और कॉल करना पड़ता है कि वो कब ला के देगा. मेनी टाइम से ऐसा होता है कि वो बोल देगा कि हम शाम को ला के देंगे, अवेलेबल नहीं है. सो दिस काइंड ऑफ इश्यूज हैपन. एंड वन मोर प्रॉब्लम व्हिच हैपन, लाइक इफ यू आर गोइंग टू new place, like there are lots of students and working professionals who move to cities every year. तो वहाँ पे जाने के बाद they have to find a water supplier. So उसको find करने का process भी totally manual है. अगल बगल में आसपास के लोगों से आपको पूछना पड़ता है. So they face challenges. And one more issue which is very important, like as this वाटर मतलब 20 लीटर के वाटर जार्स का नंबर जैसे जैसे बढ़ रहा है, जस्ट बिकॉज ड्रिंकिंग वाटर की क्वालिटी पुअर होते जा रही है सिटीज में, तो वहां पे जैसे नंबर्स बढ़ रहे हैं एंड वहां पे नंबर ऑफ मल्टीपल प्लेयर्स लाइक 20 लीटर्स के वाटर जार्स वाले बढ़ रहे हैं, तो जो ड्रिंकेबल वाटर का स्टैंडर्ड है उसको बहुत लोग मेंटेन नहीं करते हैं और वो लोग डायरेक्टली कस्टमर को डिलीवरी कर दे रहे हैं, जो कि ड्रिंकिंग स्टैंडर्ड के हिसाब से सही नहीं है. तो वहां पे भी एक प्रॉब्लम आती है कस्टमर को. सो वी आर एड्रेसिंग दिस प्रॉब्लम, एंड करेंटली आवर मॉडल इज कि हम लोग एवरी 2 to 3 किलोमीटर्स के रेडियस में हम लोग सप्लायर्स आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं हु आर selling ISI certified water jars, and we are listing on our platform, and customers के पास हम लोग reach कर रहे हैं, जो कि easily अपना address डालेंगे, and वहां से वो लोग supplier के साथ connect हो जाएंगे, and then supplier will deliver the water bottle to their home. So ये हम लोग का अभी फिलहाल हम लोग जस्ट स्टार्ट किया है, 1 वीक अगो हम लोगों ने अपना मतलब जो हम लोग का मॉडल है, रेवेन्यू मॉडल है, वो है कि हम लोग पर बॉटल पर बॉटल कमीशन चार्ज कर रहे हैं राइट नाउ. सो अभी जस्ट 1 वीक अगो हम लोगों ने कमीशन चार्ज करना शुरू किया, एंड इनिशियल ट्रैक्शन इज राइट नाउ वी हैव 300 प्लस यूजर्स मोस्टली इन कोलकाता. लाइक अभी हम लोग कोलकाता में ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, तो अभी हम लोग का बस 300 कस्टमर बेस है, लेकिन हम लोग मतलब नेक्स्ट 2 मंथ्स में हम लोग टारगेट कर रहे हैं कि हम लोग 4,000 to 5,000 कस्टमर्स तक रीच करेंगे. एंड हम लोग का नेक्स्ट टारगेट ये है कि अगर हम लोग ये ड्रिंकिंग वाटर जार्स को हम लोग डायरेक्टली मैन्युफैक्चरर से परचेस करके अगर कस्टमर तक जाकर डिलीवर करते हैं, तो हम लोग का मार्जिन और ज्यादा होगा, जो कि अभी 5 रुपीज पर बॉटल है, वो इट विल इंक्रीज अप टू 20 to 30 रुपीज पर बॉटल डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द डिफरेंट ब्रांड्स. एंड एज हमारे जो कस्टमर हैं वो रिकरिंग कस्टमर्स हैं, तो हम लोग को डिलीवरी भी अगर हम लोग प्रोवाइड करते हैं, तो हम लोग का जो डिलीवरी करने के बाद भी वहां पे मार्जिन हम लोग का बच जाएगा. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Before I open the floor for questions, एक बात बताइए, आइडिया आपको आया कैसे?
ये एक्चुअली मैं लास्ट ईयर पेंडेमिक जब स्टार्ट हुआ तो मैं अपने घर से कोलकाता चला गया. मेरा घर एक्चुअली कोलकाता से 60 किलोमीटर दूर है, एंड वहाँ पे मैं खुद एक रूम रेंट लेके रह रहा था, एंड मुझे खुद सप्लायर से पानी मंगाना पड़ता था. सो फ्रॉम देयर आई गॉट द आइडिया, एंड आई रिसर्च्ड अबाउट दिस मार्केट, एंड वहाँ से मुझे ये प्रोडक्ट के बारे में पता चला, एंड दिस गैप के बारे में आइडेंटिफाई हुआ, जो कि अभी हम लोग सॉल्व कर रहे
तो आपके एरिया में भी सेम प्रॉब्लम थी
हैं.
पानी
यस
की?
यस यस.
Okay, lovely. It's great for you. It's great that you're getting inspired by your surroundings. A huge round of applause for Rohit here, please.
Thank you,
Starting young, starting early. Okay, the house is open for questions. Our superstars.
रोहित, पहले तो मैं भी हिंदी में बात करता हूँ आपसे. वेरी इम्प्रेस्ड. आई थिंक पेन पॉइंट है. मैं भी दिल्ली से मुंबई रिलोकेट हुआ था, तो मैं भी पानी वाला ढूंढ रहा था वहाँ पे. सो आई रियली रेजोनेट टू द डीपर प्रॉब्लम ऑन द ग्राउंड. यू बिकम एग्रीगेटर ऑफ वाटर. बट जो मार्जिन आप बता रहे हैं, एक बोतल 100 रुपीज की होगी या 90 रुपीज की होगी?
जो एवरेज बॉटल का कॉस्ट आता है आपका लाइक 50 रुपीज लेके चलिए. जो ब्रांडेड बॉटल
ब्रांडेड नहीं है वो 50 है शायद.
नहीं, जो ब्रांडेड नहीं है वो स्टार्ट होता है 30 रुपीज से. लाइक जो लोकल ब्रांड्स हैं, लाइक जो लोकली ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, उनका 30 रुपीज से मिनिमम स्टार्ट होता है, एंड इट कैन गो अप टू 60 रुपीज तक, जो कि थोड़ा सा लोकल मार्केट में भी एक अच्छा नाम क्रिएट कर चुके हैं. उनका
आपका मार्जिन कितना है पर बॉटल?
अभी पर बॉटल हम लोग 5 रुपीज मार्जिन चार्ज कर रहे हैं पर बॉटल.
ओके. और 3 महीने से आप कह रहे हैं, 2 महीने से आप कह रहे हैं?
यस, हाँ, मतलब 2 महीने हो गए हम लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया था. एंड पहले हम लोग अपने अल्फा फेज में थे. अल्फा फेज में हम लोग वेरी स्मॉल नंबर ऑफ कस्टमर के साथ काम कर रहे थे, क्योंकि हम लोग अपना टेक साइड भी डेवलप कर रहे थे. एंड देन अभी हम लोग थोड़ा सा स्केल अप की तरफ जा रहे हैं. लाइक धीरे धीरे हम लोग फेसबुक एडवर्टीजमेंट के थ्रू कस्टमर्स को एक्वायर कर रहे हैं.
और आपका ऐप है, मोबाइल ऐप है?
हाँ, मोबाइल ऐप है.
और जो भी आपके डीलर्स अभी ऑनबोर्ड आए हैं, वो आपने खुद करे हैं डोर टू डोर जाके, या वो आपके पास और भी मीडियम है उनको ऑनबोर्ड लाने का?
जो भी अभी कस्टमर्स हम लोग के पास आ रहे हैं, वो हम लोग का जो फेसबुक एडवर्टीजमेंट हम लोग वेरी स्मॉल एरिया में कर रहे हैं. लाइक अभी हम लोग का फेसबुक एडवर्टीजमेंट का बजट 100 रुपीज पर डे का है. तो उस हिसाब से हम लोग को कस्टमर्स जिस एरिया को हम लोग, लाइक हमने जहाँ पे ऑपरेशन स्टार्ट किया, जहाँ पे हम लोग के डिलीवरी पार्टनर्स हैं, वहाँ पे कस्टमर्स हम लोग के आ रहे हैं. इवन लाइक आउटसाइड ऑफ एरिया से भी कुछ लोग मान लीजिए कहीं पे काम करने आ रहे हैं और उनको ऐड दिखा है, उन्होंने इंस्टॉल किया.
मैं पूछ रहा था, सप्लायर जब तक नहीं बढ़ेगा आपकी रीच नहीं बढ़ेगी, क्योंकि अगर मैं अपना पिन कोड डालता हूँ और सप्लायर नहीं मिलेगा मुझे, तो आपका अडॉप्शन नहीं होगा.
एग्जैक्टली. सो दिस इज व्हाई, मतलब जब हम लोगों ने ऑपरेशन स्टार्ट किया, तो मैंने सोचा कि अगर हम लोग सप्लायर्स के साथ काम ना करके, अगर हम लोग खुद का अपना एक स्टोर लेके इसको ऑर्गेनाइज करके अगर करते हैं, तो उससे हम लोग का मार्जिन इंक्रीज होगा, एंड हम लोग ज्यादा विजिबल होंगे एंड ज्यादा रीचेबल हो जाएंगे कस्टमर्स तक.
रोहित, आप क्या इन्वेस्टमेंट ढूंढ रहे हैं?
हाँ, सो अभी हम लोग 50 लाख रुपीज चाह रहे हैं, लाइक 10% ऑफ आवर कंपनीज इक्विटी. एंड मोस्टली हम लोग इस फंड्स का यूज अभी मार्केटिंग करने के लिए और अपने टेक को और स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए ढूंढ रहे हैं, क्योंकि अभी हम लोग फिलहाल कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स हैं, तो हम लोग स्टूडेंट्स के साथ ही अभी काम कर रहे हैं, तो हम लोग को अभी टेक में थोड़ा सा और ज्यादा काम करने की जरूरत है.
रोहित, एनी थॉट्स ऑन दी B2B साइड ऑफ दिस बिजनेस? क्योंकि ये वाटर बॉटल्स B2B में बहुत यूज होते हैं.
सॉरी,
B2B साइड पे कुछ थॉट्स हैं आपके, क्या करना चाहते हैं?
हाँ, B2B साइड्स में हम लोग का ये थॉट्स है ना कि हम लोग रेस्टोरेंट्स एंड जो होटल्स हैं और कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिसेज भी हैं, जहाँ बहुत सारे कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिसेज में भी इस बॉटल्स का नीड होता है, तो हम लोग उनके साथ भी सोच रहे हैं, प्लान कर रहे हैं कि हम लोग इसको B2B भी ले जाएं।
Where do you see yourself in a year or 3 years down the line?
या सो 3 ईयर डाउन द लाइन हम लोग सोच रहे हैं कि ये जो ड्रिंकिंग वाटर का जो पूरा सप्लाई चेन है उसको हम लोग मतलब मार्केट लीडर वहां पे रहे, एंड हम लोग अक्रॉस द कंट्रीज, लाइक द मेजर प्रॉब्लम लाइज इन साउथ इंडिया वाला पार्ट में, लाइक अगर आप चेन्नई में, हैदराबाद में जाते हैं तो वहां पे इन सारे बॉटल्स का कंजम्पशन बहुत ज्यादा है, लाइक अराउंड 70 to 80% पीपल आर यूजिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ वाटर बॉटल्स, एंड जो अभी हम लोग का करंट इकोनॉमिक मतलब सिचुएशन है, लाइक लोगों का, वो लोग सारे लोग अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते एक वाटर फिल्टर मशीन अपने घर में इंस्टॉल कराना, एंड मोस्टली सिटीज में स्टूडेंट्स एंड वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स जाते हैं जो कि रेंट में रहते हैं, फ्लैट्स में, हॉस्टल्स में, तो उनको इन सब की नीड पड़ती है, तो हम लोग वहां तक रीच करना चाहते हैं।
Best of luck, Rohit.
राहुल, रोहित, इसमें दो प्रॉब्लम एरियाज मेरे को दिख रहे हैं। एक, आपके मॉडल में आपकी डिपेंडेंसी है अभी वेंडर्स पे। सो जहां तक मेरी नॉलेज आती है, वाटर बिजनेस में डेफिशिएंट वाटर की सप्लाई 30 रुपीज, और आप जो लो ब्रैकेट में बात करें वहां पे बहुत ज्यादा एक्टिव है। पीपल आर नॉट फोकसिंग ऑन क्वालिटी। वो टैप वाटर और सब चीजें मिक्स करके उसको सप्लाई कर देते हैं टू मेक मार्जिन। So when you are positioning yourself as a brand, people will expect quality from you.
Yes.
They will not tolerate an inferior product because you are positioning yourself that way.
Yes.
The local vendor is not making a brand out of it. So how will you ensure quality? That is question number one. Second, if you make a distributor very big, you give him 1,000 customers after 6 months of hard work, and one fine day he reduces the rate on his bottles and he starts selling to the customers directly. How will you address that?
या सो लाइक जो आपका फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन था, उसको मैं अगर बताना चाहूँ, लाइक अगर क्वालिटी के हिसाब से हम लोग बात करें तो इवन जो 30 रुपीज में भी सेल कर रहे हैं ना वाटर बॉटल्स, उनका भी अगर आप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट जाके देखते हैं तो उनको भी ISI स्टैंडर्ड के हिसाब से अपना प्लांट सेटअप करना पड़ता है, और उनको भी कॉस्टिंग अगर देखा जाए तो पर बॉटल एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट, डिस्पाइट लाइक वो बिस्लरी हो या फिर एक्वाफिना हो या फिर कोई लोकल ब्रांड हो, उनको पर बॉटल कॉस्ट आता है अराउंड 6 to 7 रुपीज पर बॉटल, एंड बिस्लरी एंड एक्वाफिना इसीलिए 100 रुपीज 110 रुपीज तक बेच पाते हैं, जस्ट बिकॉज दे हैव मेड देयर नेम अमंग द पीपल, एंड जो 30 रुपीज एंड 40 रुपीज में भी सेल कर रहे हैं वो भी जैसे जैसे अपना नेम एंड ब्रांड को, जैसे अब अवेयरनेस बढ़ रहा है, वो लोग भी अपना प्राइजेस वगैरह बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं, लाइक अप टू 60 रुपीज तक जा रहे हैं। ठीक है, तो अगर हम लोग 30 रुपीज का बॉटल भी अगर सेल कर रहे हैं तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि उसमें क्वालिटी नहीं है, लाइक वो सारे स्टैंडर्ड्स को मैच करता है एंड वहां पे क्वालिटी है। हम लोग वैसे ही सप्लायर्स के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, जस्ट बिकॉज दे आर लोकल एंड मेनी पीपल डोंट नो अबाउट देम, दैट इज व्हाई दे हैव टू सेल एट अ लोअर कॉस्ट। एंड जो
आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं, जस्ट फिनिश योर सेंटेंस इफ यू वांट।
या एंड सेकंड क्वेश्चन, सॉरी आप एक बार रिपीट कर पाएंगे क्या?
You are standing at 300 customers right now.
Okay, okay. हाँ,
So अभी आपकी market, you are not facing the risk of losing any market because you are in the process of building your market.
Yes.
If you amplify this, tomorrow you are running a system where there are 3 lakh people who are looking up to your app to get safe water delivered at their business or home place. So in those 3 lakh deliveries, if there are say 1,000 distributors, and out of those, suppose there comes a day when 200 distributors suddenly decide to cut you out of the loop because they have all the information.
Yes.
They have the customer's address, they have the customer's phone number, they know the amount of business that is going to be generated at that address.
Exactly.
So how will you safeguard your business from this possibility in future?
Yes.
Because, and on the other side, I would like to add to this question. So if you do contracting from the factories who are producing these water bottles, maybe at a 30 rupee level, maybe at a 110 rupee level. So for them, how they will perceive your pitch to them? You are an intermediary between the customers. So you are an addition to the loop in the delivery.
Yes, yes.
So, so any manufacturer is not right now looking to amplify their loops. They are looking to decrease their loops. So how would you create value in the system over there?
या सो फॉर दैट रीजन, लाइक इसी रीजन के चलते हम लोग अभी प्लान कर रहे हैं कि अगर हम लोग डायरेक्टली मैन्युफैक्चरर से बॉटल लेके, अगर हम लोग खुद का एक डार्क स्टोर टाइप का सेटअप करके एंड देन हम लोग डायरेक्टली कस्टमर तक अगर सप्लाई करते हैं तो उससे एक तो प्राइस भी लो होगा, ठीक है, मतलब लेट अगर एक जो नॉर्मल लोकल सप्लायर है जो उसको 30 रुपीज में सेल कर रहा है तो हम लोग उसको 6 रुपीज में परचेस करके अगर 25 रुपीज में भी सेल करते हैं तो हम लोग को वहां पे मार्जिन बचेगा, क्योंकि हम लोग का कस्टमर रिकरिंग है। और एक बार हम लोग के पास लेट अगर एक एरिया से हम लोग के पास 100 कस्टमर आ गए तो हमको पता है कि वो कस्टमर फिर से ऑर्डर करने वाला है, तो हम लोग डायरेक्टली भी अगर डिलीवरी प्रोवाइड कर देंगे तो बीच से ये जो मीडिएटर्स हैं ये इन लोग को हम लोग एलिमिनेट कर सकते हैं और डायरेक्टली हम लोग कस्टमर्स तक रीच कर सकते हैं।
सो मेरी आपको यही सजेशन है कि आपकी जो पिच है उसमें ये कि हम कर सकते हैं। सो बिफोर यू मेक अ पिच यू शुड बी वेरी श्योर कि आपको ये करना है, अदरवाइज यू विल फॉल समवेयर डाउन द लाइन। सो आप ये एनालाइज किए कि आप अपना नेटवर्क इन डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स के बेसिस पे बनाएंगे या आप इनके अगेंस्ट अपना नेटवर्क बनाना चाहते हैं। दिस डिसीजन नीड्स टू बी टेकन टुडे, नॉट एट अ लेटर डेट। दैट्स माय सजेशन टू यू।
एग्जैक्टली लाइक अभी क्या है ना कि अभी हम लोग के पास कैपिटल नहीं है, दैट इज वाई हम लोग अपना स्टोर्स नहीं ओपन कर पा रहे हैं। तो राइट नाउ एज वी आर इन आवर इनिशियल फेज तो हम लोग डायरेक्टली सप्लायर्स के साथ काम कर रहे हैं। बट
सो आई वांटेड यू टू से दिस, आपने बोला 50 लाख रुपीस में आप अपनी मार्केटिंग और फिनटेक में इन्वेस्ट करेंगे। सो आपकी फर्स्ट राउंड ऑफ फंडिंग के बाद भी आप स्टोर बनाने का प्लान नहीं कर रहे, सो हाउ विल यू एड्रेस दैट अगेन?
मार्केटिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ साथ हम लोग ये भी प्लान कर रहे हैं एक्चुअली में कि हम लोग अपना स्टोर्स अगर ओपन कर पाते हैं तो वो ज्यादा बेनिफिशियल रहेगा हम लोग के लिए। एंड फ्यूचर प्लान हम लोग का वही है करने का, लेकिन एज फॉर आवर इनिशियल 1 और 2 मंथ्स और 3 मंथ्स टू एक्सपांड आवर बिजनेस, लाइक थोड़ा सा एक्सपांड करने के लिए तब तक हम लोग सोच रहे हैं।
So Rohit, thank you so much. I am impressed with your confidence. So we have to give it to you that you are still in college, I believe.
Yeah.
So all the best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Mr.
everyone.
Abhishek. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you. Rohit, one last question from the audience. You're prepared, right? Rohit, ready? Okay.
Yes.
One last question from the audience.
I'm sure you must have heard about Live Pure Smart. This side.
Yeah, hi.
So you must have heard about Live Pure Smart. So वो 300-400 रुपए में घर पे मशीन लगा के जा रहे हैं. How will you compete with them?
Regarding Drink Prime.
Yes.
Yes. I also researched about them and Drink Prime में अभी वो लोग मशीन लगा के जा रहे हैं, लेकिन वो लोग टारगेट अगर करते भी हैं तो उनको फ्लैट्स को टारगेट करना पड़ेगा, लाइक जो रेसिडेंशियल कॉम्प्लेक्सेस है वहां पे। बट इन सिटीज जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट्स हैं एंड वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स जो रेंट करके रह रहे हैं तो वहां तक
तो वहां पे भी पानी आता ही है ना या नॉर्मली, तो वो मशीन्स अगर वहां पे 400 रुपए पर मंथ में वो लगा के जाते हैं, सब्सक्रिप्शन देते हैं, जिसमें कि दे आर गिविंग आई गेस 150 लीटर पानी वो फ्री देते हैं, 150 लीटर्स इन अ मंथ। उसके ऊपर फिर वो उसमें टॉप अप करवाना पड़ता है। तो हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू चैलेंज देम?
तो उसके लिए हम लोग ये कर सकते हैं कि लाइक अगर हम लोग अपना ऑपरेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं, ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट कर चुके हैं, एंड 20 लीटर्स के जो वाटर जार्स हैं उनका नंबर्स एज बढ़ते जा रहा है। एंड मैंने आपको पहले भी बोला कि ड्रिंक प्राइम अगर मशीन्स लगाते भी हैं तो लाइक हॉस्टल्स में बहुत सारे जगहों पे ऐसा होता है कि लाइक एक ही रूम में 3-4 लोग रह रहे हैं, तो वहाँ पे मशीन्स उतना ज़्यादा कोई लगवाने का प्रेफर नहीं करेगा, और उनको अगर लगाना भी है तो दे ऑल्सो हैव टू इन्वेस्ट मोर फ्रॉम देयर साइड। तो अगर हम लोग 20 लीटर्स के वाटर कैंस एज नंबर्स उनके बढ़ रहे हैं तो हम लोग ऑब्वियसली उनके साथ मतलब डिलीवरी कर सकते हैं एंड ड्रिंक प्राइम के साथ कॉम्पिट कर सकते हैं।
थैंक यू, बेस्ट ऑफ लक।
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next startup, which is the Explurger by Jatin, Bhatia, the founder and CEO of Explurger with 22 plus years of experience, strong background in programming, software development, private equity, and business development across many countries. He has been the honorary president of CII, South Africa, for 4 years and 2 years as honorary director on a Niti Aayog funded incubation center. Please put your hands together for Jatin Bhatia.
पहले ही कोशिश पे मार्स तक पहुंचाने का गौरव हो, सबसे छोटी सैटेलाइट बनाकर एक नई सोच को दिशा देना हो, चांद पर पानी खोजकर उम्मीद से भी आगे जाना हो, या फिर दुनिया की पहली ऐसी सोशल मीडिया ऐप बनाना हो जिस पर अगर कोई टाइम लगाए तो उसे रिवॉर्ड्स मिले, क्योंकि इंडिया का मतलब है कुछ देने का भाव। एक्सप्लोजर मेरी अपनी सोशल मीडिया 40 देशों के लोग तो इस पर आ भी गए, पर घर अपनी से नहीं। तो आ जाए यार, एक्सप्लोजर मेक इन इंडिया यहाँ नहीं तो सोशल
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jatin, Bhatia. I'm the founder and CEO of Exploger. It's a social media app for travelers. I've got 22 plus years of experience working on technology, software development, private equity, business development, worked in India, worked outside India. My co-founder, as you have all seen, famous Bollywood actor, my friend for many years, Sonu Sood, is a co-founder along with me on this social media app, which was just recently formally announced only on 7 June, just 40 days back. Why Exploger? How the idea came? 2017, this is the time when I was traveling a lot. I have been traveling all my life because of business, because of work. I came back from one of my trip from outside India. I remember I was working for a company. I was filling my expense sheet in the morning. On top, it was written Jitin Bhatia visit number 62. That was my 62nd trip, business trip over a period of 8 years. And by looking at that number, I started thinking, you know, I've made so many trips. I must have been many countries. I started counting how many times I've been to Dubai, how many times I've been to South Africa, how many times I've been to Mauritius. I couldn't count how many times I was there in Dubai. And then I said, hold on, but how about if I want to know how many times I've been to Mumbai? How about if I want to know how many times I've been to Hard Rock Cafe or my favorite joint? What all I've done, what all pictures I've shared? I said, must be there must be a place. So I went on to the biggest social media platform available. Today I went there, I said, every time I go out, I always check in, I always share my pictures and video. So let me go over there, but to my surprise, I couldn't find a single thing. A thought came, we share a picture, we share a video, we get a few likes, we get a few comments, and in few days, in few hours, it becomes history. Everyone forgets about it. If we can have a social media network for professionals, if we can have a social media platform for meme specific, which is meme specific, very specific audience which like humor-based content, which is Reddit. If we could have a social media network for current affairs and news, which is Twitter. If we could have a social media format for short video format, why can't we have a social media app for travelers around the world? I did my own research. What I found out of 4.8 billion social media users, around 76% of users share their pictures while they are on the move. That is 3.5 billion people. That's a staggering number. And that's where Exploger was born, urged to explore. I started 2018. Finally, I had the enough courage and conviction to come out of the corporate world and start this. Sonu has been my friend for years, and we kept on discussing what he was doing. He has been a great philanthropist, as you know, Sonu Sood, famous Bollywood actor. And we kept on discussing, we were doing together what he was doing for the country and what I was building, trying to make it made in India for the world. We got together, he liked the concept, and we joined hands together. We incorporated our company only in March last year, 2021. Before that, I was building the thing with my 3-member team. And then finally, from there on, the momentum started coming. Everything started taking shape. It was last year in October, we did our first fundraise of $1 million at a post-money valuation of $10 million. Remember, this was done without Sonu Sood name being announced, just on the merit of the product, because we kept it a secret with our users. Just on the beta version itself, we kept on getting the users from more and more countries. Until 5th June this year, we had 400,000 users on organic basis from 40 plus countries without Sonu name being used. On 7th, finally, we announced this app. And since then, we have got enormous amount of traction, some validity. Last year, we did a fundraise of $1 million just on the merit of the product. This year in January, we got selected in Google App Scale Academy. Google first rated us as top 100 startups in India in January. In May, after 5 months of mentorship, we have been now rated as top 30 startups by Google. Google gave us $200,000 of funding for our Google Cloud expenses also. And finally, when we joined, now there has been a huge increase there has been an increase in the number of users from 125,000 users 8 months back. We are now standing at 911,000 users. 500,000 users have just joined in last 40 days. There's a 7 times growth in that. When I talk about average engagement time per user, from 6 minutes, it has gone to 14 minutes, which is much more than what Snapchat has currently. When I talk about my number of posts, from 600 posts a day, now we are sitting at 25,000 posts a day. It is becoming like a cult for travelers. If you're a biker, if you are a traveler, if you are a hiker, if you are just a ghumakkar, this is the place to be. What makes us different? 3 core differentiators. First, this is the platform wherein every time user shares and create a picture, shares a picture or a video, the artificial intelligence in the background keep tracks of the complete travel log, keeping track of the miles, cities, countries, places, and it gets added automatically without even user knowing about it, without any extra effort. It keeps on building. And this has become the most sticky point of the user. Bigger the travel log becomes, more difficult for the user. It becomes 95% retention rate of those users who have been able to add 3 cities, 1,000 miles. They have not gone from our app even after 6 months. That's the retention power, because it is like your email account, Gmail account. Bigger it becomes, you can't just leave it. You can't simply export your travel log and take it anywhere else. Second core differentiator, the gamification, the first and the only social app which has introduced the concept of gamification. More engaging content you share, more exposure counts you earn, higher your level goes, more kudos you get, more likes you get, more miles you travel. Higher your content, more recognition you get onto the platform. That's the second core differentiator. And the third is the rewards. We give tangible rewards to users, not just likes and comments, but tangible rewards. We are tied up with 39 plus brands, including PVR, OYO, Make My Trip, some of the top brands in the countries at category A level, Hamleys, Tata Sky and all. And we're giving tangible rewards. More active you are on the platform, more rewards gets unlocked. And it is changing the social media game. Thank you. Yes, just to add, sorry, I think if the time allows, we have raised $1 million last year. Post-funding valuation, $10 million. Currently, we are raising $5 million from the VCs and $1 million through convertible notes, through angel investors. And we are busy in the middle of the fundraise right now.
Hi, Jatin. Quick question. Yeah, so Jatin, it's basically a platform which is very niche, of course, for people who are traveling. And I'm sure, the COVID times, it might have been a steep fall, or because travel was not happening first. Secondly, a tough question for you. If tomorrow the biggest social media platform creates a feature like this, for them it is very, very basic. They can create a feature where they can record our history of any travel or any pictures people have uploaded. They might have the history, by the way. And they just launch a feature and another module which is similar to what you present as a niche. How would you be able to manage that?
Okay, very nice question. Social media, Facebook, when I talk specific, it's a general social media app. When I talk about Insta, famous for Reels, they have a wider audience of 4.5 billion. They would not like to, compact their audience and to be called as a travel social media platform. We are a place for travelers, bikers, just like LinkedIn. So if you look at LinkedIn, to answer your question, sir, if you look at LinkedIn, you can share a picture and a video on LinkedIn. You can't do even stories. You can't do effects, nothing. It's just picture, videos, and some, pages being made. So same things of venture capital funds, professionals are there on Facebook also, they're communities. But people still prefer LinkedIn because it's only for that content. The content is specific. There's no, adulteration of other content coming. It's only professional content. Same is the case with meme specific, same is the case with Twitter. But when it comes to travel, there's no travel social media platform at a global level. That's where Explorer comes in. So no adulterated content. It's all filtered, all travel based. Our users are self-moderating the content. The content on our platform currently, with so much of search coming of users, it's still standing at 70%. It is becoming like a cult on our platform. If you visit there, people you would see, they use the words born to explore, exploding this and exploding that, exploding to Goa. And they're self-moderating. If someone putting, any political tweet in they'll just simply put a comment and, put a report against those because they want that they want that content, core content to be there, which cannot be the case on any other platform.
So, hi Jatin. The only thing that I'm deliberating is that if I go to, say, we travel, all of us, but we want to share our content on Facebook where my, say, 5,000 friends are there, or on Instagram where I already have 2,000 followers, or whatever X number. I'm already sharing that. Now, do you want me to supplement that with that? Because it's not that I will, if I put on Explorer, does not mean that I will stop on the other platform. And for me to do this change, to go on the third platform, post there, like, all the rewards that you told me, for me to become active, then it's not that I'm going to stop on the other two, for the gamification to come. So where is when Anshulji rightly asked, it becomes a very niche because are you targeting all the people because they're not going to keep transferring their multiple accounts, or they will not stop using the audience that has already reached billions of people?
So, okay. So why people are coming is because those who are travel freaks, they want their memories to be created. They want to know how many miles they have done. They want to know how many times they've been to Mumbai, what all pictures they shared while they were in Mumbai, what all the places, if you are going to Leh, Ladakh, to Spiti Valley, what are the most explored places in Leh? What are the most rated places in Leh?
So TripAdvisor is there. There have been multiple apps already for travel. I mean, for when you're talking about, those are different thought process. When you said there's a purpose for LinkedIn, there's a purpose for Twitter, there's a purpose for everything. And when you keep, from social media perspective, I believe Facebook has already, and Instagram is already there. They've reached a height that it's very difficult to compete with them. That's what my personal thought is. And when it comes to the travel information that you're talking about, or for me to have a digital imprint of my travel diaries, I can do that with the other existing apps. My question is that when I have to create the digital persona, which you have been trying to say, that what have I done, where have I been, the miles that I have clocked, or the number of times I have been to a place, even an Apple phone with a normal, if you keep clicking photos, it gives you a pure history that yes, I've been to Mumbai 24 times in the last year. It creates a memory by all that. So the digital imprint that you're talking about, that already exists for me through other apps and through without the app also.
Yeah, absolutely. You may have an opinion, but a lot of people are travel freaks and they want to know the miles they've traveled. They want to know all these places, the virgin unexplored places where they can see people. This is original content, what is coming on Explorer. They're sharing live on time. The features, like we are using augmented reality in our new feature, which is where people can go and sign Explorer walls to be there, come into augmented reality, find the wall at a particular place. That could be, in Jim Corbett or at a gateway at, Mumbai, find a wall, unlock it, and leave a video message there so people can actually see how many walls you have gone around the world and sign it. Those kind of features, finding popular, getting bucket list. You see a place on Facebook, you say next time when I'm there in Goa, I must visit there. But by the time we go to Goa, we forget about it. We have a feature called bucket list. You add, just with the tap of a button, you add that place into your bucket list. So next time, even 6 months down the line, when you're there, it reminds you to go there. So those kind of features, sharing your future travel plan. Here, the social experience starts right from the day of you have planned your trip. So the live countdown timer runs on your wall saying, Explore begins from 20 days, 19 days. And people start recommending, you can be a travel buddy along with me while I'm going to this, I'm planning a trip. So those kind of core differentiators, and combined with mile ticker, which runs along with my name. Every profile name next to the post, there's a mile ticker. So there's enough people which is getting intrigued to have that mile ticker next to my name and to show people that I've been there, I've done that, and to tell to the world that's the crowd which is coming. And it is like a cult if you come there. It's like people using even on Instagram from 1,000 followers, now we are at 56,000 followers on Instagram. So out of 911,000 users, our monthly active user is standing at 411,000. So that's like 45-50% of our active user from the total users. So that's the kind of traction which we are getting. Another big traction point which I just want to show, when this video came out 3 weeks back, and couple of other where Sonu went on to Explorer, Insta, and everywhere, asking everyone to follow back. and invite your friends. Just in last 30 days, our 500,000 users have invited 12 crore people on our platform. That's 120 million. They've gone onto our app, synced their contacts, clicked on invite all button, not one or two, invite all. And we have ended up getting 120 million, 12 crore. That's like 9% of the population country's phone number into our database sitting for SMS to go out. And we had to stop that because to send 12 crore SMSs would cost 3 crore rupees. So that's the kind of traction we are talking. There's no such platform and people need that. So, you know, as a person over here, some may like, but there are enough travel freaks out there. And that's the platform. If a platform which is meme specific, it's only for those audience which like humor-based content, such a small, if that could become a global platform, we are talking travel here, it's huge. And we can see the traction is live. It's not something which we are saying would happen. As I speak, it's happening.
So I believe the invitation for joining, downloading the app.
Sorry? No, it's live. It's on Play Store, App Store.
When people are clicking invite all,
yes,
and when you're seeing the number 12 crore people,
yes,
were invited.
Yes.
So it was for downloading the app, correct?
Yes. So out of 12 crore, there are 14 lakh which are emails. The other are all phone numbers.
Okay, because I just checked on Google Play Store, so there are around 5 lakh downloads right now.
So Google, how it shows is
out of 12 crore invitations.
Okay, Google shows 100,000, 500,000, then million, then 5 million, then 10 million. Google doesn't show the exact
So
figure.
we are in the bracket of between
So
500.
we're on Android, we are at 850,000. The rest are on iOS.
Okay.
So we are at 911,000. That was day before yesterday.
And how do you see monetization?
3 monetization. One is the online rewards. Second is the rewards which we are, online marketing, which most of the social media app does. Second is the rewards, exactly what some of the bigger platforms like Credit and all doing. So we have currently tied up with all these platforms. As soon as the reward is being used by any platform, any user, we get 5 to 10% of revenue share from the reward, which is not currently coming. Because we are in a POC mode in last 6 months, we have not been charging the brands. But there are enough brands. All these brands are already giving to other platforms 5 to 10% revenue share. So a PVR ticket getting 100 rupees on off, and they are spending 1,000 rupees on that 900, getting 10% back. That's the revenue share on rewards. The third is the affiliate marketing, exactly what Trivago is doing. What Trivago is doing, they are actually tied up with 20 big portals, e-bookers and all. People come to Trivago, put Goa and dates. They suggest them the comparative list of all these portals. They go onto that portal, they get 4 to 24% revenue share. Exactly, that's the tie-up which we are doing and putting it in a subtle way. We can do much more bigger than what these guys are doing because we have the audience in front of. I exactly know what Anshul is looking at on my wall, what all places he has in his bucket list. What all places, if he has got 10 followers, 5 have gone to Goa and he's liking all those posts and he's going into Goa details and actually looking at the ratings and the places to explore in Goa. I know exactly where his inclination is and I have those analytics to show that data and pull in a subtle way, show all that data. Trivago is doing 5 million bookings a day. It's a multi-billion-dollar business in affiliate. And exactly, I want to give you an example of LinkedIn and Monster. LinkedIn is huge. It's a social media app for professionals, but the majority of their revenue comes from recruitment. They are not the recruitment app. Recruitment is Monster, but they are going much bigger there on LinkedIn. That the reason is Monster people go only when they want to want to hire someone or they want a job. But here they are already professionals engaged on the feed on daily basis. So it becomes easier for LinkedIn to refer in a subtle way those services. Same way we have travelers on our feed, daily basis interacting, creating posts, real-time exploring, finding out places. That's where we want to engage and get those.
Since you mentioned Trivago, are you looking to, so are you looking to enter into the B2C space, selling travel also in future?
No, we don't want to sell. I don't want to become Yatra or Make My Trip. This is for social media. The social media experience would be the prime. This becomes another, facility or feature for the user. We are just enabling the user to make them understand that in any place where their fellow explorers are going And in those virgin areas also, if there are any places to stay, what all best places are there, what all best prices are there.
So then how do you capitalize on the monetization part? Because Trivago is doing transactions, so they are recovering 4 to 24% because transaction is happening over there.
So Trivago is making majority of the money through affiliate. They don't have a payment gateway integrated. People from Trivago goes to Agoda, Booking.com. They click there, they go to that portal, they make the booking, and they end up getting 4 to 24% revenue share. That's what Trivago does. So we don't want to integrate payment gateway. We want to be a social media platform. Sorry.
Hey Jitin, this is Deepak. Impressive and interesting. I heard a lot about the giving back part, right? I think social media is getting to a point which is where it is getting controlling, it is getting creepy. Social media is, I think.
Sorry, there's a lot of noise from the back. Can't hear you actually. Sorry.
Yeah, so let me repeat. I heard in the video something about giving back. My own personal opinion is social media is getting to a point where it is getting very controlling and we're getting very creepy. To a point that we give our time, we give our content, but as a user, we don't get anything back. What I haven't heard from you on that giving back, I think you talked about rewards. I mean, it's a comment, it's an advice. I mean, I want to understand your thinking. There is almost this need for democratizing, the time and the content and paying the users back. You talked a lot about the features. You talked a lot about the need for a traveler social website. I want to hear more on that philosophy because I think that is where people will get connected and drive more towards.
Absolutely, Ashish. I think that's a very good. I think when we started, when we were conceptualizing, that's where Sonu said, and we as founders believe that we need to give back to the users. It's not only likes and comments, and that's where the concept of rewards came in. It should be tangible, and this is just the starting. The rewards going forward as more and more things as we integrate online advertising into it. So one way would to monetize our content creator would also to give a share of that to back to the content creator. That comes into the second phase. So we're not discussing that about a lot of expectations rise and then user gets disappointed. So currently to the user, what we are giving them is their travel log, their journeys, rewards, tangible rewards, the concept of gamification. Concept of gamification also came with a feature of, giving them on other platforms, the only way to get recognition is to get a blue tick, but which is not in your hand. 99.99% cannot have it. Here people can create their own recognition by creating good content, more likes, more kudos, more engaging content, more you travel, more you miles you accumulate, your level of exposure goes high. Higher your level, we recommend your content to more people. So you're getting more recognition. Next to your name, there's a logo of which shows what level you are actually, and that motivates people to share more.
So Jitin, one last thought I'll leave you with is, I was reading a lot about Twitter versus coup and how the philosophy of coup is different and why is it getting the support from government. I would suggest that, you talk to the founders at coup and see from that concept, what is that you can implement. So I'll leave you with that thought.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Jatin, and thank you for all the lovely questions. I'm sorry, that's all we have the time for today.
I've got one question.
Short
Please.
question?
Very short question.
All right then.
So I think your idea is brilliant. And second thing, I want to counter that.
Sorry.
Can you hear? Yeah. My name is Utpal Chakrabarti. So it's a brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Right? And I want to counter that already there are so many travel apps. Why your app? Okay. So that's not going to be there, right? So everywhere. So because you are giving a tangible benefit. And second thing, the entire social media is going through a paradigm shift, right? So the business that Facebook is doing, okay, the Meta is doing, probably that is not going to be what it is happening today. Now my question to you is, as you are classifying yourself as a social media platform, now Facebook and all other social media is going to metaverse, right? So they will be moving to metaverse. So do you have any plan to go to metaverse kind of environment?
Do you have any plans for?
Going to metaverse kind of.
Okay, so the augmented reality feature which I was talking is part of that metaverse, creating the world, taking the world, making the artificial world a reality in front of you. I mean, the feature on which designers are working currently, the UI UX guy, which would be released in the next 3 months, what we are talking is, we are busy placing virtual walls, lot of places, lot of cities, in some of the places. You walk into gateway, you look for a virtual wall, now you open augmented camera, you start looking for the place. And there you see gateway, there you see people standing there. Now you have to find the wall, you find the wall, you tap there. Now it says come closer, you go in 50-meter radius out of the wall. And now you can unlock the wall and leave a video message with your background. And whatever message you leave remains on that wall for the rest of the life. Anyone coming and unlocking the wall would be able to see your wall, and people on your profile will be able to see what all walls you have actually checked in and left a message, unlike other platform where you can actually check in while sitting here into New York also. It's not that way. So you have to be there to there. So we have many such features. I think as the technologies are evolving, it would get integrated. The scope is unlimited. And going forward also, the concept in social media, very soon you would see, and we are seeing, from a general social media app, all the platforms are becoming now sector specific, meme specific, professionals, current affairs, news, video format, other kind of formats which are now coming up. So travel is one area which was something which we would be covering now.
So why I'm asking whether you are going for a metaverse or not? Because you cannot go in an existing metaverse like Decentraland or Sandbox, right? You will have to have, as you are a social media, you will have to have your own metaverse. So, I mean, I think you should also think of that, because as Meta, Facebook is going into metaverse, all the social media platforms are bound to go into metaverse, right?
Hi, may I make a comment here, please?
Yes, please.
We're a table of who love to travel, all right? If you're making a pitch like this, we would have loved to see the interface as how you've developed. Maybe you've lost out on us not
So
getting
the best
onto your
way
platform.
is to download the app and see the interface. Unfortunately, we couldn't show the deck and other things, but I'm sure you'll all love it. There's a normal feed where you can actually see posts of people whom you follow. There's a trending section.
We've been hearing you, but what we would have seen would have made a much larger impact.
It's not
I guess.
far from you there on your phone. You can see it. Explorer, urge to explore. That's how we named it. Urge to explore, Explorer.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you so much,
you.
Jitin. A huge round of applause for Jitin here from Explorer. All right, like I said, that everybody gets 5 minutes here to present their startup, and unfortunately we don't have any audio visual support, because who can talk about your business better than you? So we have given each of them an opportunity to speak about their startup for 5 minutes, and that makes me move on to the next startup, which is a super interesting one, particularly of my interest. Please welcome Danish Malik, who has started Boomlet, which is a full-stack influencer marketing company with a strong network of content creators, influencers, and advocates from various categories on all the major social media channels across the country. Boomlet, here you go.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Mr. Shelley. So I would just like to introduce myself. I am Danish, founder of Boomlet Media, and Preeti, she's a co-founder. So we started this journey in the year 2018, and it all started with just a 10 rupees of a tweet that I used to do as an influencer on Twitter mainly, which led us to do all of these things and create a huge network of influencers, community, and all of that, where we started this overall business. And in this 4 years, we have built $1 million company right now, where the current valuation is around 18 crores, what we are doing currently. Also, there are multiple brands that we are currently working. That's from Uber India, Flipkart, Amazon, Godrej, HUL, and all of these, whatever campaigns that you see on Instagram, on YouTube, maybe on Facebook, the creative strategy. If I talk about the USP, so there may be many talent or artist management celebrity agencies across India, but only one particular thing that helped us to get this advantage and to reach from level A to level B right now, that we consider as a phase 1. That is only because all our strategy, what we create, we say that we do not create any digital campaigns or generate a creative ideas on a pizza table, but it's all backed by data. We do audience analysis, we do analytical part, understand what time your audience comes online, what type of content that they are putting, and all of that. Based on that, we create ideas with the human creativity, where we have a currently team of 35 plus, which is again based out of Mumbai. Then we deploy a right set of influencers. So for example, recently, I think last month, if you have seen a Google India campaign, which was Bolne se sab hoga. So we have deployed 167 influencers across India, and more than some 500 odd hoardings that was all over on national highways and cities, which even included Sushmita Sen, Hina Khan, Mandira Bedi, and all of that's like premium influencers. So even deploying influencers, we always check their social analytics and audience behavior. So it's not about if I do have a very strong connection with these ex-influencers, I will take them and just do a negotiation part, and then it's like taking here and then selling it off. But we again check their followers, whether it's fake or real, what is the household income, what is the earning capacity of their followers. So basically understanding their audience insights and then plug in for that particular campaign. The third part is the content creation, which we want to go into that, which is completely a video production. And then fourth thing is amplification of that video. So how we do that? Again, we have a standby unit of very small nano influencers having maybe 5,000 of followers. So every time, like 24/7, we do have some around 2,500 influencers across India that is already on the standby unit. So either if it's a crisis campaign, either it's a promotional campaigns, these influencers can be deployed and can create a mass chatter, or bring the increase in the reach or the impressions what we are trying to create. The last leg is about the reports part. So we always focus on the ROI. So starting from ideas, influencers, but the ROI. What will be the reach? What will be the impressions, engagement, and what the brand like when it's like a big billion day or maybe anything. So what the brand will be getting it. So we commit first and then we deliver. And most of the time we have such a strong case studies in place where we have over delivered for the brand, like again the Flipkart thing. So this is what we have created, and this is what we are working on right now. The goal, the next phase is we are trying to. So right now we are only in Mumbai. We are trying to expand in Delhi and Bangalore, which is definitely a bigger market comparative to Mumbai, and the UAE market also. So because we have done a very small campaigns in Middle East. But we think it has even a great potential and the same kind of a format that can be implemented in Dubai as well. So this is the overall thing what we are trying to build in coming years. And in next 3 years, we want to bring in new tools and innovations, which will be, no one is doing in anywhere in the world, mainly in India, where we have certain plans, certain filters, certain patent and copyright things what we want to develop. That is number one. And second, in a one line, if I say, so we just want to be civil of influencer marketing. So that's our end goal right now.
Danish, this is Gaurav.
Hey, hi.
So very interesting. So I have two quick things. One, what's the current revenue run rate? And second, the type of corporates you're working with and the number of corporates you are currently working.
Okay, so first thing, since 2018 and till this financial year, we have done a business of 6.5 crores. That includes 2 years of lockdown, definitely. And we think because of obviously of lockdown, our pace went quite slow. But however, we have changed our strategy a little bit, where we try to retain and hold a business during those period, where we have tried our best to not to deduct salaries, or there was zero layoffs. Plus, we have even hired around 15% more, and plus did appraisals and incentives and all of that. So right now it's some around 6.5 crores, but this year we are trying to do almost like 12.5 crores this financial year. So it's almost 4 years, for 4 months that is already been passed, like April, May, June, July. So we are at around 4.5 crores we have already done till now. So that is a answer to your first question. Second, our clientele divided into two parts. So one is agencies, and the other side is a brand, direct brand that we work with. And third is couple of government projects that we do. It's again a very confidential things and all of that. But the first thing about the agencies, so Densu Aegis, WPP Group, Group M, Medicine India, Shabang, Miram, Gozup, and all of these, like we are some of them, like we have exclusive partner. A few of them, like we are like preferred vendors and all of that. So we are impaneled in all of these agencies. Direct brands from Godrej, from banks like ICICI Lombard, HDFC, Dream11 is one of our key clients. MPL US is one of our client. Then Citibank used to our client, Mercedes, Volkswagen. So all of these. So it's like, so no, Aditya Birla is one of it. So now it's like we don't have any retainer clients because it's always a project basis or a festive kind of a, because during Diwali they want to do some kind of a campaigns or maybe Christmas and all of that. So this is kind of a budget capacity that they want to invest, and it's like a project to project basis. But they come to us even though if it's a Ogilvy, so Ogilvy sends us a brief when they are on the creative side. However, they come to us and they say us, okay, this is our idea. Now we just want the right influencer to be plugged in for this and execute the campaign. So these are the like two major categories. And when we have started the business, so our strategy was very clear that we will be working with the agencies primarily, because one big agencies like Ogilvy have 10 different clients. So, you know, we will be getting such accounts and we'll be able to build a case study. So we think that phase is almost over. Now, the second part is now we are reducing the agency side and we are focusing mainly on the brand side to improvise our margins, to build a better case studies. And obviously working directly with the brand is something very different. And also most of the time there is execution hustles which goes down, and because there is a Chinese whisper most of the time we notice when we do the data analytics part as well. So this is our next strategy. So I think I've answered your question.
Thank you.
Danish,
Danish?
sorry, quick question.
Yes, please.
Follow up on that. So you mentioned that you wanted to be the Sybil in online campaigns.
That's right, yeah.
So I would love to hear more on that. And is it fair to say that your USP is the the touch with the influencers and knowing which influencer to put where? So I assume you have a strong analytics team as well. So can you talk a little bit about the analytics team? And is your fee, like, I mean, the way you monetize, that's fee from corporates or agency, it's a fixed fee, it's not a success-based revenue share, it's a B2B contractual arrangement that you do?
So correct me if I'm wrong. So you just asking about the revenue stream, okay. So see, we
And
have
also I would love to hear from your co-founder. I think she was also about to say something when the, yeah.
Yeah. So the revenue stream, so we do have currently 2 revenue streams right now. We are trying to build 2 more. So by this quarter end, we will have a 4 revenue stream for our companies. The first one is obviously influencer marketing. It's like creating ideas and whatever that I have told. So that is one. The margin is that minimum margin, what we said is 15%. It goes up to 35%. Okay, average out by year end, it's around 23.5 or 24% is the margin what we try to achieve. That's our goal. The second revenue stream is what we call is BRCC unit, that is the brand reputation and crisis communication. So that is something, maybe there is some kind of a crisis is happening for any of the brand, and you want an immediate turnaround time from any
Which is
of the...
fine. Sorry, Danish, to cut you. I mean, there, my question was, you get a fee from the client. It's not a revenue share or...
No, it's never been a net revenue share because it's a kind of a project, and then we give a commission-based thing. Obviously, there's a negotiation part, but the bigger the ticket, obviously, it's a very common. The margin is lower. The smaller the campaign, the margin is on the greater side.
Danish, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Just to clear my thoughts, you are a B2B company and aggregators of influencers.
That's right.
Clear. Second, my question is, don't you think you are keeping too much on the plate to chew? You're talking about, don't you think you're keeping too much on the plate to chew in the next couple of years? You're trying to also get aggregators on board. You're also getting B2B orders. Then you're trying to, you want to control content, and control that ideation to a content, and then, manage the entire piece. Do you have that kind of people or skill sets even after getting funding. Do you think that's too much for you to maybe not target only one category and be the master or be the best and then expand?
So I will tell you one thing. All the 3 to 4 service what like we're trying to deliver is linked with each other, okay? And plus we are trying to solve couple of challenges. So we receive 3 kind of inquiries and briefs. So for example, any of the brand that they're launching, like for example, a new phone that they are launching, okay? So they will come to us, they will ask us, okay, I just want to do everything, like from research part and then planning and executing an entire thing. So this is the entire campaign that they want us to do. That is 100% thing. So we do for them. Agencies like Ogilvy, they are Web Chutney, Ogilvy, they are on the creative side. They will never give us a such kind of a briefs where we will create ideas for them. They will create ideas, they will take that credit. However, they will come to us, okay, give us influencers and all of that. There are very small agencies, they will do the creative side, they will have all influencers also, they will just tell us to execute. So these are the 3 things. However, there are very few agencies who has the capability of all the 4 things, which is analytical and the data kind of listening part, the social listening. Second, a wide range of network of influencers. So these 2 things we are already delivering to our clients. The third is about the content creation, which is just about the production. We have a vendor. However, now we have seen that we have crossed the threshold, and now it's very much important to build that in-house capacity so that we generate more revenue. And the last is about the reporting, which we already doing, and the amplification part. So it's not, obviously it's like small different buckets, but overall it's one and the same service where we are beating competition, because कोई कुछ और करता है तो दूसरी चीजें नहीं करता. But here we are giving our clients an opportunity that under one roof you will be getting everything from start, from ideas to amplification. Because if you see most of the production houses, they will give you the video, you just need to post it out or do whatever you want, or like wherever you want to publish. But then they go to the digital marketing or social media agency, and now the additional budget will be there, obviously, and then they do amplification and media running and performance or whatever they want to do. However, here we are doing all the 4 things together, and it's very much easy. Like big giants like Group M, they don't need to contact or they need to coordinate with the multiple 4 different vendors. However, they will be getting everything from us. So this is what we are trying to resolve.
So as you said, Danish, that what I'm trying to understand, that you're in one-stop agency rather than the multiple ones, and your competitors such as Plixo or Confluencer or Influencer.in or Growkey. But as far as I know, all of them have the division that you're talking about. They have a digital media team, they have the influencer team, they have that in-house. All the competitors that you haven't mentioned, as far as I know, they are doing the same thing that you are doing. Is there a thought process difference where you're telling you to me that the competitors, the big ones that are there, the Plixos and the Confluencers and the Influencer.in, they don't give the all-in-one service, which you are saying, from designing the campaign and then doing the influencing part and then doing the digital media with that campaign also, plus the analytics also. For according to you, none of your competitors do that.
No, so you rightly said. So the whatever the name that you have mentioned, we say that they are not a direct competition anyways. Okay, they can create ideas and they can give an influencers. However, they are not doing the research part. And we say, so for example, they can say, okay, ये trend हो रहा है, this is your idea, and you can just execute. We never say that. We just find what audience want to listen and how your audience is interacting. So it's again a research part. Point number second. So we have been doing so I was doing a freelancing thing since last 7-8 years. Preeti has a more than 12 years of experience into media sales. So we get an additional mileage just because we have a very good connections of influencers. So where we can share a cost effective plan, and plus we can even generate 20% margin on that. For example, recently we did a campaign. I would not like to name that particular celebrity. We got a quote of some around 35 lakhs for one story share. Okay. However, that 35 lakhs, the competition agency tried negotiating and bringing them to some 22 lakhs or 23 and all of that. We brought that cost to up to 8 lakh rupees. Okay, so just because the relationship and the network and the number of campaigns and the business that we are already giving to that celebrity, even though we are not exclusive with us, so we get additional mileage just because we had a first mover advantage maybe, or we are giving a flow of the campaign to that particular influencers group of influencers. The number third, you maybe competition or any of the new agency may take a 6 months of time to get a vendor registration impaneled with the group M. Okay, however with Boomlet we are very much a premium or the preferred vendor for them. Whenever there is a very quick turnaround time campaign, like maybe you want the regional influencers that you execute the campaign in 3 days or 2 days of campaign, so which we did for the Mahindra. So we did we deployed influencers from Tamil speaking, Malayalam speaking, Kannada and all of that. So we targeted South market. However, from selecting influencers, payments, briefing, scripting, everything that we did in 3 days of time, and we executed the campaign and the video was ready. So this is something what even though they are into the same category, but they're not a direct competition, what we feel.
Also, I would like to add here one more point. The agency which you are talking, they are integrated agency, integrated media agency. Under them, they have offline, online, programmatic, digital, mandate, everything. What we are trying to build is, we are trying to build everything in content, starting from creating a storyline, making that storyline into reality, production form, then amplification, and then with data support, proper reporting. So next thing what we feel is content is king. If you have a substance, if you are okay in establishing a brand communication with the end user. See, there are many agency who is doing a production, but if you notice the branded content, many of them fail to establish a communication with the brand, which we are trying to bridge it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Danish and team. And thank you. Can we have one last question from the audience, if there's any? Last shot.
One very simple question. You haven't talked about what kind of funding you are looking for and what is your current run rate, what kind of valuation you are looking for.
Yes, that's most
Okay, as of now, we chose this platform to bring the visibility about my company. We are very well-known name in Mumbai market, and we wanted to establish our name in Delhi and Bangalore market. So the reason we are standing on this platform, just to have just to get an opportunity to interact with biggest people like you, share my views so that you can share your opinion, how I can move forward. Definitely there is a planning of funding, which we can discuss later, not right now.
Vikas here.
Thank you.
Vikas here, and we actually do a lot of influencer marketing at Happilo. So would like to connect offline and explore further on that.
I'm happy to hear that, sir.
क्लाइंट मिल गया आपको यहीं पे साइन कर लीजिए सर को.
See, because we are doing very well. I mean, Boomlet name is well established. Whenever my agency or brand gets call from my team that I'm calling from Boomlet, half of the job is done. So we have done that effort to make the brand. Now the next step is to scale it.
You're not sharing any numbers today.
Sorry?
You're not asking any numbers. You're not putting the numbers on the table for us.
Let's speak in person. I'll share you my card. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Thank you so much, Boomlet. A huge round of applause for them, please. All right, that brings us to the end of the first stream of startups. And before we move on to the next line of startups, we're going to do a little break. And for that break, we have a very important speaker. And can I remind you that right now we are going live and about 3 million people are watching us, watching me, watching you, watching these startups. Brought to you by Engage AI Digital and the influencers who are connected to us. There are about 3 million people live with us right now. Moving on, our next speaker for the night, who's had 23 plus years of cumulative experience in digital transformation, digital customer experience, analytics, operations consulting, customer and sales strategy, logistics, automation, revenue acceleration, channel development, customer loyalty organization building, including partnerships and M&A. Phew, that's quite a lot. A partner in PwC India, currently the partner in PwC India. Please put your hands together for Mr. Amit Khanna. I think we can have a louder applause, please. Thank you so much. Welcome, Mr. Khanna.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I think we already have the momentum. We all want to hear from startup. I don't know why Shally asked me to come here and talk now about what is happening in the digital world in India. So I will not take too much of time, maybe just take about 2 minutes to give our perspective of where we are from a digital startup journey perspective, as a overall, as a country, the ecosystem, the environment which we are talking about. So if I look at the startup world in India, we are perhaps in the 3rd or 4th generation. And I think we have a visibility of 5th generation. So the generation 1 was when we actually produced digital startup, which were predominantly services startup, right? I will perhaps count Infosys of the world coming from that kind of world, right? We had huge technical talent. We decided that we need to exploit it, and we need to exploit it for the world. And that's where we came with a large chunk of startup where we used the technical talent to solve the world problem in the services mode. That was my generation 1. Generation 2 came, is still the same thing, right? We have too many people. How can I bring digital and technology to the technical friendly people and use it for various things? And that's where we started getting consumer tech, retail tech, ad tech, and tech, and all techs. Right? So that's how it started, right? The second phase or the second generation, which was very good. The third generation, which is slightly interested in saying, okay, now I have done it. My second generation is predominantly Indian market focus. My generation 1 is to provide the talented manpower to the global world. How can I combine the two? And this is where perhaps we are, where we are calling the SaaS world, right? So we have software as a service or the subscription services and all of that. And that's the third generation, which is perhaps running right now, and we are all seeing it. The fourth generation, in my view, is taking shape, which is perhaps in the near future, we will have Indian-built digital product ruling the world. So we will perhaps produce a Google from India or a Microsoft from India, maybe something else which will come out. And that generation has perhaps already taken the birth, maybe just incubating somewhere. Some of these startups may grow, some of the other people may grow, and that's the next level of the world which we have. And that's perhaps the fourth generation which is happening. The fifth generation, which we can see signs of, is what's going to happen with what we now right now call as all the emerging tech. And that's where India will perhaps leapfrog completely in front of the world. We are perhaps the third biggest ecosystem for startups or the digital startups in the world right now. And my sense is in the next 5 years, we will be the number 1, by far the number 1. And that's purely my sense. I don't have the data to prove it right now. But I didn't have the data 10 years back when we were number 10. If somebody comes and tells me that we will become the third biggest startup ecosystem in 5 years, and it actually happened. Right? So we are now seeing a generation 5, which is going to come where we will see metaverse, we will see a lot of stuff happening on IoTs. We will see all of that which will come up, where the world is still thinking where to find resources to do that. And when I'm saying resources, it's not only money, it's not only capabilities, it's not only people, it's actually a mix of that. The ecosystem which we are seeing it here is actually developing very, very beautifully. And my sense is that this ecosystem to support startup will help us grow very, very fast in the coming days, right? And that's where the whole hunch is. If we see how the startups have grown in India in the last 3 years, in spite of being in a COVID scenario, it's crazy. And that give me that kind of a confidence. I mean, I have experience in a startup. I had a failed startup stint, let me say that. And I was really feeling very bad when I have to go and say people that I have a failed startup stint. Today, if I say this to the people, I get respect. Now, that's a big difference which has happened in our thinking. And I think that's where this ecosystem will do. Not only the ecosystem which we as a people or the professionals are providing, but also what government is trying to do with their programs. Also, what the other large corporates are trying to do. Also, what the legacy large
business houses are trying to do, what Birlas are doing, or what Tatas are doing, what Reliance are doing. They're all trying to say that how can I promote this, because I don't have capacity to go and innovate. I don't have capacity to go and disrupt. If I find a smart, bright group of people who can go and disrupt, that will be super, and that's something which is what we are seeing there. So if I look at what is happening in the India today and where do we stand and where do we go, I have only 3 words. I think we are perhaps the best time in India from a startup perspective or a digital startup perspective. I see people doing leapfrogging in terms of product. I will be quite amazed that, that if we don't have a single Google coming out of India in the next 3 years. We already have multiple SaaS companies from India which are doing, perhaps ruling the world in their sphere. Right? And we will have product company coming up in the next 3 to 4 years. We will see that. And when it comes to the newer technologies, my guess is that in the next 5 years, you will see we will be ruling metaverse or the IoTs or some of the areas which are specifically designed on the digital technologies. And I think that's where it's going. Now, to do that, I think I also have an ask from this group and all the citizens to do certain things. And I think we have to change our attitude to make sure that this happens. I think 3 or 4 things I will perhaps say. One, when I went into a startup about 8 years back or 7 years back, I was extremely worried. Now the worry factor has gone, or the material worry factor has gone a little bit, but still the social acceptance of the people going into startup is still low. Particularly if you go outside of the cities, it's very, very low. And that's where the talent sits. The talent, basically tier 2 towns and the tier 3 towns will actually come out with more innovation than we can even think of sitting in Gurgaon or a Delhi or a Mumbai or a Bangalore. Because we haven't seen the problems which are there, and they will come out. And I saw at least 3 of the presentations covered that or captured that, right? The Nepal transfer. There's so many workforce which come from Nepal and work. It's a genuine problem. And if we can solve that disruption, that will be great. So we need to change that mindset. I think that's one. Second, I was, if I may say, a little bit disappointed that out of the 5 pitches, we only had 1 female here. I personally have seen, I've personally been investing wherever the co-founding team has mixed gender, the chances of success gone up. I don't know this thing, but this is a proven data fact which is there. We only had 1 female candidate or female co-founder here. It does not mean that I'm trying to promote that, but I'm just trying to say that is that a social stuff which is still in our mind or an attitude which is in our mind which is stopping them to be there. An extremely important thing which we need to take care of. The third is we need to encourage this kind of an ecosystem. I know government is trying to do what they will try to do. They have that Startup India which will have its own size, shape, design, time. But these kind of platforms like what Shally has tried to do will help a lot of other guys to come up. The issue is not in terms of innovation, issue is not in terms of technology, issue is in terms of right mentorship, issue is in terms of right scalability, and issue in terms of identification of right market. These are the issues which perhaps more of the Indian startups are facing. It's nothing to do with funding. I think there's enough funding available in the market. It's nothing to do with ideas. It's nothing to do with technology. They are comparatively easily solvable problem. But who is going to mentor them? Who is going to give them the market or guide them to go to the right market? Who is going to give them the scale? That's something which is big time missing. And we need to figure out how can we provide that. I think with these minor things, minor changes, we have a very, very bright future. I will be, as I said, personally amazed if I don't see India as one of the largest startup destination by 2027, 2028. So I'm putting a 5-year bet on that in 5 years, we will be bigger than Valley, what Valley produces today. Even if I look at the Valley ecosystem today, I personally feel the ecosystem here has developed much more. Means most of the people sitting in this room have invested in 1 or 2 startups, which doesn't happen. And imagine the kind of working professional population we have. So even if I can give you some facts, we have more than 5 million people who have a file income tax return of 1 crore plus in this country. Now, it looks very high or very low, whichever way. From a population perspective, it's a very low percentage. But from an actual number perspective, it's very high. If out of that 50% start investing in few startups, I think the money is not going to, the whole money problem of all the startups is gone. We have, all of us have our kids who are perhaps going to school or colleges and coming out with new ideas every day. If we start encouraging them to go and solve it with the help of technology, with the help of digital, I think half of the problem related to innovation will get solved, because they see it every day, they feel it every day, and they are doing it every day. The challenge is that we need to have time, energy, and intent to guide them, to mentor them, and to take it to the next level. I think that's the ask which I will have for this group, that it's not only about your money, it's not only about your name, it's about, if you genuinely feel that there is a value in the startup ecosystem in India, please start or supporting few startups, start mentoring them so that they can actually grow and they can actually scale up, because the scale is the problem for them. In this country where we have more than 1 billion people, we still don't have scale. That's all. So I will leave this. I will like the next startup to come on, because I don't want to break the momentum. I don't want to make things slightly more serious. And I don't want to stand between the drink or the dinner and the startup and Amit. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khanna. Thank you. Well, like Mr. Khanna said, moving on. And now we are going to make a slight change to the timelines because everybody's getting hungry, everybody's getting thirsty. The startups are only going to get 10 minutes, and that includes the questions as well. So I would request everybody kindly refrain the questions. We'll take as much as we can, but the startups are right here. There's going to be a lovely networking session over dinner, so you can continue the conversation. Moving on, our next startup for the night is Mr. Aveen Jain, who has got together BDB, who is an IIT BHU graduate with 25 plus years in software and 20 plus years in the field of business intelligence. He has worked for SAP Business Objects R&D team for more than a decade and has worked on creating an end-to-end data analytics platform, that is being used by 50 plus customers with 10 plus Fortune 500 companies of the world. Over to you, Mr. Jain.
So we are talking about the digital footprint in most of the companies. And if you look in next 5 years, most of the large organizations, especially when we are talking about the manufacturing also, the profits from the digital world is going to be equivalent to the profits of the manufacturing world. So that makes the statement that most of the large organizations will go for their own data analytics platforms. So to create these type of data analytics platforms, you need a data analytics platform which helps you to do end-to-end flow. And BDB is one of the data analytics platforms that has been created, which is the single platform by a single team in the history of business intelligence or analytics. So when we are even talking about an Azure or an AWS or a Google, most of the platforms are getting made. They're still not complete. And there is multiple acquisitions that has happened, and that's how those platforms are there. So what platform we have made after our experience of business objects for 10 years in R&D is that it is one single platform which is able to deliver. And when we have delivered in a couple of petabyte scale deployments, we have seen that we have been able to deliver that much faster and at much more cost-effective way. So this is, and we have spent like 75,000 man days. So it is not a startup just started. It is like we did 4 or 5 years of experimentational engineering before we started putting it all together into a platform. And it took us 8 years to reach here, where we have made some of the Fortune 500 companies as our customers, and has been able to deliver in competition with the other larger ecosystem at much lower cost and much faster. Our team is pretty strong. So we, 4 of us at the top level, comes from the IIT BHU 95, and core techies are there. So that there are at least 25 people who have been working with me for more than 10 years. We have been able to deploy in the auto segment, in telecom, in retail, a little bit in finance side, in healthcare, in education, and high tech. So the platform has been tested into multiple tough situations, and this is like So we have raised, angel round at 140 crore earlier. What we are looking now is around 40 crores at the valuation of 225 crore. I know that the product stage that we are in today, I think no company can reach to that stage by spending less than $200 million. I'm very serious about it. And being in the business intelligence space for more than 20 years, I can look at any product and I know, what is the status of that product, how the analytics flow will be there, why any team is not able to achieve the analytics what they want to do. So the team is pretty good at it, and our success percentage of deployment is 100%.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jain. And the floor is open for some questions. That was a really short and sweet one. We appreciate it. Anyone questions?
Yes.
sir.
Hi, Mr. Jain.
Girish. Yes, Mr. Girish.
Yeah. So, what's your current revenue run rate, and how does this split between license and services?
Yeah.
Because building an analytics platform is a lot of services.
Yeah. So, see, as we are building the platform, and then in initial years are really tough ones, because you have to keep on doing the services also to show to the partners also. So I have not talked about the partners. So my partners are from the organization, which is like your $50 million to $5 billion type of technology companies are our partners, and now taking to the different customers across the globe. We are primarily focusing on the integration products, integration contracts, where we have reached up to 5 million, data platforms, where we have reached up to 7 million, and we are targeting to go into PaaS, platform as a service, because some of the cloud vendors are now discussing that with us. And we have already signed one, so we will be doing the integration of that level itself. So it's going to be competition in the full flow. In terms of the revenue, so some of the contracts, whatever we get it, we try to give it to some services organizations also who has built up the skills on our platform. So when I'm saying a $7 million contract has been done, so some part of the services would have gone to them. So we have done last year around 19-20 crore with 35% profitability. Before that, we did 13 crores with 25% profitability. This year, we are focusing more on going much more deeper into some of the segments, and in such a way that it becomes extremely compelling to go into and sharing more risks with them and trying to grow their business to the next level and then taking a share from that. So we are building something like cost of poor quality and all that, so that we attack the manufacturing and auto inside it, because we have one of the auto or one of the trailblazers in quality segment who has working with us now. License plus this is, so currently we are at like 40% license, 60% services, and we are now moving towards more and more licenses and aim to become 75% license organization in next 3 years. And especially with partners, most of the revenue is only license.
Hey, Avan, how are you? First of all, first statement which you mentioned that you have 100% strike rate of closure of projects. Is that correct?
Not closure, but execution.
Execution, yeah. Closure means execution to me. That is great. I've been implementing analytics for the last 20 years, and that kind of success rate is really, very great. So great job done. Secondly, my question is, as you said that you want to go into the PaaS area, the product as a service. Primarily, it works on a subscription-based model, right? Primary, the PaaS runs on a subscription-based model.
Yes.
So how will you transform your, intakes of revenue or your, revenue stream in the PaaS area?
Yeah. See, we are not entering PaaS as only thing. Basically, what will happen is like a cloud vendor is there. Let's example, there is a cloud vendor in India, in France, in different type of countries also. So they cannot have a platform like AWS type or a Azure type, correct? So they will integrate BDB there. So as a data scientist, I can come just onto this PaaS and I can create my own models and I can do the services.
How is it different, like a company called Data Rockets, which is again something like a presentation layer on top of a database? That is how you also operate, right? You don't have a data lake, you work on a database. Is that correct?
We do not have a fixed data lake, correct? So we do the end-to-end from data ingestion to data data quality to data dissemination. Then we have our own basically data science workbench, where I can create my own models, I can train them, I can push them into the production. So the data ops and ML ops are by default in the platform. And now once I push that into any of the data lakes, which can be Mongo to Azure to AWS to anything, and I can do the visualization as a self-service as well as the governed dashboards. And there is basic search is also being provided. And in our platform, we have data catalog features, data as an API and model as an API.
Again, see, I've been implementing Google Cloud for some time now because that's something which is growing up. So Google Cloud has similar features which you just mentioned, whether it's ingestion, whether it is the BigQuery, whether it is the AI/ML environment where they can write codes and write Python codes and run AI/ML logics or libraries. So how is it different? I don't understand. How will you compete with something like a GCP?
Yeah, so you're right. So the main competitor to us is not Google, it is Microsoft. So Microsoft, Google, and we talk about all the big ones, they all are having it, but it takes really large time, a huge amount of time to build the data analytics platforms and do end-to-end. If you see, Microsoft started in 2006, it took them 12 years to start dominating this. And today, whatever we are able to deploy, no one in the world will be able to compete with BDB when we are deploying a large use case. In case of Google, they have acquired Looker and they are being able to provide it, but there are a lot of use cases that I'm working on where part of the deployment is on premise and part of the deployment is on cloud. And the numbers, what we are talking about and what Google will talk about is extremely different. So if a row has a capacity to give $10 in the data monetization space, if you will do that from Google or from other things, they will take $9. With BDB, you can still do it 5.5 to 6. It's a very big market. It's a very big profitability. There is none in the world who has been able to do this. And I have here worked on so many products through business objects itself. I was in France, learned business intelligence with the people. And most of the companies who have done well in this segment, they actually came from business objects people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jain. Thank you. Well, like we said, we are sort of on like a time crunch. So we move on to our next startup, which is Vaibhav Kaushik, who has got Nowgati, who is the co-founder and CEO of Nowgati, a B2B2C congestion management startup for fuel stations that is funded by MapMyIndia. It is working with some of the biggest oil and gas players across the country. Vaibhav from BITS Pilani and has started Nowgati in the dorms of his university to solve the congestion problem in NCR. Very wise. Thank you so much. And directly impacts the livelihoods of cab drivers. Please put your hands together for Vaibhav Kaushik.
A startup incubated and seed-funded by Bits Finance radically transforms the standard fueling flow at fuel stations in India to reduce the sun and wait times, streamline traffic, and boost reliability and customer loyalty. The slide represents an overview of the pain points faced by different stakeholders in the fueling value chain. At present, there is an acute mismatch between supply and demand at fuel stations in metropolitan cities across the country. Some of the key problems are high wait times, poor customer experience, heavy vehicular congestion, operating losses, and SOP violations. To address this multitude of problems, we asked ourselves how we would go from the driver's seat of an incoming vehicle to stations in its vicinity. If we could zoom out a bit, we would see the complete picture. In other words, we sought to build a comprehensive, real-time queue management system at scale. Assignment: efficient mechanism which will process the large scales of congestion at stations in an area and locally optimize the vehicle flow into these stations to drive down wait times and deliver an unprecedented fueling experience.
you. Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Sorry, I'm not very groomed. We were traveling for the last 45 days, initiating pilots for different gas players across the country. I am Vaibhav Kaushik. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Navgati. He's Aryan Sisodia. He is the co-founder and CTO of the company. So Navgati is a B2B2C congestion management startup that is fuel agnostic and is funded by MapMy India and Ministry of Electronics and IT. We started Navgati back in 2019 in the dorms of Brits Pilani when I was interning at an NGO in Noida. So both of us have been born and brought up in Greater Noida. So there's this half-an-hour commute that is there between Noida and Greater Noida. And in 2019, Ola and Uber had just started out, so they were onboarding drivers like there was no tomorrow. But the CNG infrastructure was not able to scale at that rate. And there were certain stations that were seeing more traffic, those were on the main roads. And there were stations in the interior parts of the cities that were not seeing as much traffic. So, like to this end, the drivers had to wait for more than an hour on a daily basis. They still do. And that is roughly 10% of their earnings gone to waste because during that time, their devices are not online. So this was the problem that we saw, and we realized that if the drivers were made available, what is the waiting time at stations within their vicinity? They could save time and increase the uptime of the devices. So we got the funding from METI, took that grant, nominal amount of money that we got, and we built our system like B2B offering Aveg. Aveg in Sanskrit means impulse. So we provide fuel providers with all the insights within an impulse. So we took this, we built Aveg, and we went to the largest gas company in the country, IGL. We did a pilot with them for their highest selling station in South Delhi. That materialized into a paid pilot for 20 stations, and now we have a commercial order for 65 stations, annual contract. So that is on the B2B front. So Aveg essentially gives all of these companies, it is a CCTV to congestion monitoring startup product that like it is a vertical SaaS offering that gives them insights pertaining to attendant count, serve time, wait time, what is the demographic of vehicles that are fueling at the station, what is the split of vehicles that are fueling. So for a gas company, they know, say, if they're selling 1,000 kgs, that is fine, but they cannot attribute it to different vehicle categories. We do that for them. At the same time, there are certain custom features that we've been building, like customer identification and demand forecasting. So we've been rolling it out for other players as well. And we're doing a paid pilot with Indian Oil for all of their outlets in Noida. And we are initiating pilots with Adani Total, Sabarmati Gas, Gujarat Gas, Torrent Gas, Think Gas, AGNP, in the coming months. On the fundraising front, we are raising 3 crores and we're diluting 9% of the company. 1 crore for 3% has already been put by MapMy India. And we have some soft commitments for 1.5 crores from early stage VCs. And this funding will actually take us to 15,000 outlets in the next 2 years. And we will reach an MRR of 10 crores through this funding. And what started from the dorms of Brits Pilani is now being used by the biggest names in oil and gas across the country. And we need your support on that front. Thank you so much.
Hi, I am Abhishek. So, how do you see your business evolving in the long term? There was a tweet by Mr. Nitin Gadkari, who's our Honorable Union Minister for highways. So he said that there are almost 16 lakh vehicles registered as electronic vehicles. So I see decentralization of the fuel charging points, because if I am not running on CNG anymore, I don't really need to go to a station because I'll charge my car at my home for the next 200 kilometers, or with some hybrid models coming for as good as 450 kilometers. So why would I need this product, say 5 years down the line or say 10 years down the line? How do you see that?
So actually, Navgati's solution is fuel agnostic. Petrol, diesel, CNG, electric, all stations are covered. And as with electric, the serve time is higher, which implies the wait time is even higher. So coming to your question, there are private charging stations, but as mandated by the government of India, all fuel stations need to have electric charging points. So that is what all these players are working towards. And in terms of, we don't see CNG going anywhere like for the next, say, till 2030. In terms of electric, we are in a position to like rapidly scale our offering to include electric charging stations as well. So 80,000 outlets today will have electric charging stations. So those will also fall into our ambit.
Hi, this is Girish. This side.
Yeah, hi.
We understand what you do. Just throw some light on how you do it.
Yeah, so so as I mentioned, ours is a CCTV to congestion management product. What we do is we can onboard any station onto the platform within 24 hours, and it is entirely plug and play. It does not require any change to the existing CCTV infrastructure.
So basically, video analytics.
So we started out with that, and now we're also doing dispenser integration. So think of it this way: after we cover minimum threshold of station that we intend to through this funding, what we'll do is say if you want to fuel, you'll open the Navgati fueling app. You right from station discovery, going to the station, seeing the meter reading on your phone, paying via the app, giving feedback, and then driving away. Everything will happen without you actually leaving the vehicle. That is what we intend to do. And the network of stations that we are creating, the funding is entirely for that.
What's the monetization plan?
Sorry.
What's the monetization plan?
So we have 3 revenue streams. One of them is live. We charge oil and gas companies per month per station. It is a subscription model that is for Aveg, like the offering. At the same time, we have another B2B revenue stream that is yet to be launched. The wait time that we get from these stations will be made available to cab aggregators, fleet operators, say companies like Flipkart, Amazon, operating thousands of CNG vehicles for deliveries. They would want their vehicles uptime to be as high as possible. They would use the wait time API. They would pay us per API call. At the same time, for the consumer-facing offering, for commercial drivers, they fuel 2 times a day, 60 times a month. We intend to have a subscription model for them. We'll charge them per transaction 1.5 rupees. That would cover our map API costs. That is what we intend to do.
I wanted to understand one thing, that because through CCTV, most of the stations, the queue is way beyond the station, where the CCTV purview is not there. So the basic premise you said that you tell about the congestion. One is that question: how do you cater to the queue which is not in purview of the CCTV at all, since there are longer queues? Second, when you're talking about what is the analytics for someone who is going to the the vehicle that wants to fill up the gas, but they are only looking for at the last mile, that that they're in that last yellow zone, when there is very less, and they know that this is the nearest fueling station. Rather than going to the app, thinking about the congestion, this station is on my route, I will only go to that irrespective, and I am only going when I know that I need to fill, like the last thought process. Exam hai, ab padhne ki zarurat hai. So how many people actually are using the app because they're afraid of the congestion? And how do you, the analytics part that you're saying, I want to get convinced then that the purview is there outside the petrol pump.
So answering your first question, there are companies have entry, cameras positioned at the entry and exit points. So we covered that. For oil and gas companies, we're also doing operation, like we give them complete operational oversight. So for them, compliance is key for gas companies as well as oil companies. That is the play here. And if there is any additional requirement of cameras on the external part, we sort of relay that to the company, and it has been done in the past with the companies that we've been interacting with. Answering your second question, in terms of people fueling, like we don't have a deck here, but there are 2 options. You fuel now, the stations within say 5 kilometers radius will be shown to you with the lowest waiting time. And when it comes to planning a trip, you can put in your source destination just like you do it in Google Maps. The only thing is we intend to be India's only fuel aggregator, and the network of stations that we are creating gives us this edge and like a monopoly in doing so.
So how many stations are live on the app right now, and which all cities?
So we have an annual contract from IGL. That is the first order that we've tracked. The pilots that we're doing, so we have a model, we do 2 months of pilot, paid, unpaid, and then the commercial order kicks in. So presently 65 stations with IGL are live, 10 stations with IOCL are live, 1 station in Bombay is live with another provider, and we're launching, we're onboarding 4 stations in Gujarat with Gujarat Gas. The work order is in progress. We'll get it in 2 weeks.
So my last question for you today, I'm posing this question as a fuel station owner.
Yes.
So if I am having 5,000 car refills per day, 5,000 fuel tank refills per day, and you are charging me a subscription fee to help me send maybe 1,000 cars away to my neighboring competitor station so that, the people don't have to wait. So as a fuel station owner, would I be really motivated to do that?
So this is a question we get from every investor, every oil company. So the thing is, the people for the company, say for Indian Oil, the intention is that the end consumer's experience should be, phenomenal. It should be seamless. The people who are waiting in the queue are not your customers. They will fuel at your station once, but they will not come to your station again if say they experience the same wait time. So for the top brass at these companies, it is mandatory that the experience for the end user is amazing. For IOCL, BPCL, HPCL, all these players, they have stations in 2 kilometers. So if I navigate, say a customer from one IOCL station to the other IOCL station, it doesn't matter. So another thing, all of these companies have their own apps. So we, we don't say that all of us have to onboard, say the consumers have to use Navgati's app. You can use IOCL app, you can use IGL app. We'll still give you the wait time. We'll charge them for the wait time APIs as well. So, it is a win-win for us. You use their app and you get navigated. You use our app, you get the fuel aggregator, all of you.
So wishing you all the best. You're in a very good sector. Energy is a very good sector. Mr. Adani has jumped to the 4th most rich person list. So wishing you all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much. The thing is, we graduated last year, and the thrill of actually, 23, 24-year-old kids speaking with, like top brass of these organizations, mammoths, these organizations are very, very giant. So it gives us this pleasure that, we're creating impact and the biggest names are using this. So all, gas and oil players, whenever we pitch the product to them, they're completely blown away. And that is our intention. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Navgati. Thank you. And that brings us to the last startup of the day. I would request everybody to kindly take their seats because this is the last 10 minutes of pitching for this night. And that is going to be Mr. Manish Shamji, who's brought together this startup called One Feed, who's the co-founder of SARM Innovation Private Limited, owner of OneFeed.com, a B2B marketplace for cyber security products, solutions, and services. He has more than 22 years of experience in IT infrastructure and security domain in multiple cross-functional roles of solution architect, software engineer, and sales leadership. Take it away, Mr. Manish. Can we have a big round of applause, please, for our last pitch for the night?
Thank you. Thank you. Whenever I come to the stage, I always remember the first time I came to a stage. It was my school days. I was in 8th standard. We broke some tube lights, so principal called us for the punishment. But that day I realized one thing, that I didn't feel bad about that. So I realized 3 things about myself. First thing, I'm rebellion by nature. Second, I felt like I can do something really big in the life. And third, I don't have stage fear. Now, let me come back to the business part. So we are here to raise 5 crores because the business is the most important thing. Is we are here to raise 5 crores for 15% equity. The segment what we are working right now is the cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity is something which is interesting for every country, every enterprise, every banks, every financial institutes. They need cybersecurity, not only for their business. They need for regulations, they need for compliances, they need for cyber insurance, and many more reasons. Now, if you see cybersecurity, there is a paradigm shift. The cybersecurity today is a software-based or a SaaS-based solution. Now, we also wanted to create our own cybersecurity product, but what we realize is that why to create one more product? There are more than 1,200 startups worldwide. They are creating phenomenal products in cybersecurity. Why don't we create an ecosystem which helps them to sell it to the right audience? So we came up with an idea like it's a B2B marketplace. It's an ecosystem where we are engaging with the enterprise customers to solve their cybersecurity problems. What we get in return, why the enterprise would be coming to us? Why not go to Accentures and IBMs of this world? 3 reasons. We solve them. By coming to OneFed, we are reducing their cybersecurity spending by 20% year on year because they are buying the product directly from the product companies. We are vendor-neutral partner to them, which helps them to make a more informed buying decision, right fit solution for both technology and the price. Third, It's a hassle-free online buying process. So there's more from a perspective of what is the benefit for a buyer side. Now, there are 1,200 odd startups across the world. Why they would come to us? 3 reasons. One is a customer reach, second is a brand awareness, and third is a direct revenue. So we are creating an ecosystem where the buyer can be an end customer who is acquiring best of the breed cybersecurity solutions from this platform. On a seller, we are giving them revenue. So important thing is that OneFed, as far as our journey goes out, we started in November. We have more than 60 OEMs, product companies from worldwide who are associated with us, which we are pitching it to the banking and financial customers, technology investment companies, as well as something on the manufacturing. As far as current revenue and the market traction is concerned, we are foreseeing about $1 million of GMV by March 23, which essentially means about 15% of our net revenue to OneFed. Our business model is very simple. Whatever the business transaction happens on OneFed, we take 15% commission from the sellers. By doing this, we are cutting down the distributor, reseller, and other aspects, with which a buyer is saving about 20%, I would say, cybersecurity spending year-on-year basis. Now, let me talk about the market validation. There's a company called Vendor.com, which does similar thing for mainly SaaS buying in US. They did about $660 million of fundraising in March. Based on June notification, they have already reached about a $1 billion of market capitalization and the valuation. So we see a great potential of cybersecurity buying, not only in India, but across the globe. The ecosystem what we are creating right now, we are currently focusing Indian market till March 23, and we would like to take it to the next markets like Southeast Asian, ANZ, Middle East, and eventually to the US market. So globally, we see a good potential of cybersecurity spending. If I talk about the total spending in cybersecurity space, there are about $270 billion market of cybersecurity spending. 55% of this cybersecurity spending goes to the emerging players. And that is something which we are targeting right now. We are not working with big players like Cisco, VMware, Microsoft, and Palo Altos because they don't need us, we don't need them. We are engaged with emerging players who are hungry, who are agile, who are cost effective, and we're giving a best value to the cybersecurity solution. Any questions?
Hey Manish, this is Anshul.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Manish, my question with the last part which you just mentioned, that you're focusing on maybe lower mid-market or SMB customers. Now that's a vicious cycle, by the way, because when you will enter into the enterprise level environment, you will face a lot of big competition, and your ticket size would always be very lower than what you expect to be after 5 years. I've seen these companies getting into this trap. You're starting from bottom to top. That is their aspiration, right? The trouble would be you will get stuck in the bottom line of the average ticket size of a contract with a SMB level, because the moment you raise your prices, they will churn out. That's what we see all across different. It's not only cybersecurity, any other service which is either SaaS based or PaaS based, ultimately the SMB level is very price sensitive. So how do you think, how you scale in this area?
Yeah, so the question is about like how we handle the price sensitive SMB market, correct? In a nutshell. So SMB and mid-market is something where on an average, if I go to a mid-sized pharma company, they would be spending about 50 lakh rupees of investment in various solutions for cybersecurity. Now, on an average, they go for a 3-year contracting upfront, depending. 3-year contracting with year-on-year payout, or it could be 3-year upfront payment as well. Now, what is the stickiness for me is, today, if I go to I would say mid-sized pharma company where we are working right now, we are working on 8 different projects over a period of current financial year and the next financial year. This financial year, they are going to close 3. Next financial year, they are going to close 5. So essentially, we are sticking on from a perspective, when I go to an enterprise customer today, I'm not talking about only one solution. I'm talking to the CIOs and CISOs about their entire cybersecurity journey for current financial year and the next financial year. We are talking about 8 to 10 projects in every account which we are working right now. Now, our pitch to the customer is that we are vendor neutral. We'll give you right fit technology. It doesn't mean that you buy what I am proposing to you. You might be evaluating Cisco, CrowdStrike, and the market leaders, but you can consider buying this. The reason why they would be sticking around to us is that first,
we are giving a technology valuation. Second, we are giving the best price. Because they are buying directly from the OEM, they are directly negotiating with the OEM, they are getting at least 20% buy price benefit, and also they are having a better TCO compared to the market leaders in the industry. So as of now, I would say 60 OEMs. Now, I would like to give you some more insight. Like right now, we are participating in one of the fintech events where we are representing fraud risk management as a solution, which is required by every fintech company in the industry. Like today, when we are talking to fintech companies, in last 2 days, we have about 250 walk-ins. We are talking to those fintech customers not only from a perspective of fraud risk management. We are talking to customers for their entire customer journey, starting from identifying the risk profile of the mobile users, what they are registering, identifying PII data and classifying and tokenizing those data, fraud risk management of the digital transaction, data leakage protection, and so forth. So in a nutshell, I am talking to the CIOs as a long-term complete cybersecurity journey, and we are not talking about only one-point product solution selling it here. So we are becoming a long-term trusted advisor to them for their entire cybersecurity landscape. Yep.
I mean, just the last question that with a lot of your competitors in cybersecurity in the startup world, like Lucidus or Tax Security, I mean, they're run by my friends. So I'm still trying to figure out what is the USP compared to them. I mean, why would I choose them or you over them? Because is it the niche that you are in one particular segment which they are not into, or is it that you have a more affordable solution than theirs, the customizability? I am still to figure out of the thousands, as you said, there are a lot of players, but the people who have already been able to scale and are giving competitive advantage, where do your company sees that?
So the names which you mentioned about Lucidus, which is a safe security now, Tax Security, which is Trishnitara, these are the companies which are, I would say, which are emerging in nature. Which they have a cutting edge solution. Now for them, they are my sellers. I'm not going to compete with them. They are my sellers. What they would be looking out from me is three things: revenue, reach, and brand awareness. So I'm doing, like, for example, right now we're talking about, from a brand awareness perspective, we are doing a weekly webinar for all the OEMs who are associated with us. We are doing a CI roundtables. So these are the companies who may or may not even present in India, but they would like to penetrate India and Asia Pacific market. Now you think from a perspective of startup economics of entire world. There are startups in Israel, there are startups in Europe, there are startups in America. If I am a startup in Israel, I would be first going to North America. Once I am having a sufficient revenue, I would go to Europe, then comes to Middle East, then comes to ANZ, then comes to Japan. The last two countries I would be focusing is India and China, because it's a price sensitive market. Now, if I want to cover, if I'm a small startup based in Israel or US or anywhere, if I want to cover Asia Pacific, I need at least 40 resources, and that would contribute about $7 million of revenue in a quarter or maybe in a financial year. What we are doing is we are giving a GTM to them. So you penetrate Asia Pacific market without doing any investment. What you are doing is that you are giving me a 15% as a commission for all the business which I am generating for them. So it's a GTM, easy GTM for any startups across the globe who are penetrating Asia Pacific. Now think from a long-term ecosystem perspective. I'm creating an ecosystem where buyer is maybe sitting in India or anywhere in the world, and Indian startup is selling something in Europe without investing manpower, resources, or anything. So it's a long-term ecosystem where cybersecurity buying is happening, everything online, and we are becoming the first point of contact for sales, solution architecting, and everything. What we don't want to do is the services part. So services companies are also going to be onboarded on this platform. So if I'm buying a product from here, I can buy services from anywhere. So if I'm sitting in US, I'm buying a best of breed technology, I possibly buying services from Delhi, which could be much cost effective for the buyers as well. Yep.
So Manish, one question. I've gone through this discussion once of a similar kind of environment like you are. You're like aggregating the cybersecurity area end to end, which you just mentioned. Now, the problem happens is, over a period of time, you will start controlling this because it will be in your hands which particular company to basically suggest to the customer, or what the services you want to sell. So don't you think, I have seen this discussion happening with a major aggregator where a major customer of them told that you are now basically eating my share of the pie by controlling my market. So how will you manage that situation, which will maybe come after 3 years or 4 years?
So the question which I tried, let me interpret what you're asking is that we would be controlling the buying decision or influencing the buying decisions. Okay. The way what I see on a long-term basis is that we want to become a vendor-neutral recommendation engine. We'll be building up an AI recommendation engine. The objective of that is that we wanted to become a much more specific recommendation engine to the customer. It could be based on multiple aspects. What is the organization profile of the seller? What is the price segment they are into? Do the seller has customers in the same segment with the buyer is all about? Like, I would like to buy a technology which is already having a banking customers or the equivalents. So if I'm a pharma company, I want to buy a technology which is already being deployed in some pharma companies and other things. So this will be an AI-based recommendation engine, which we want to build it over the next product enhancement, which becomes more of an automated flow. So right now, in first 2 years, I see more of an assisted selling, but in long term, it becomes an automated selling, where we are recommending by using those algorithms to buy the right fit solution. So I don't want, see if my budget is let's say $10, there's no point of recommending a solution which may be contributing about $25 or $30 per user subscription license. So we wanted to make a right fit solution approach. In the simplest term, what we are trying to create is more of a Gartner and Amazon, more of a recommendation engine plus an easy way of buying the cybersecurity. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of a very eventful night. And I think we have managed to make that bridge between the startups and the investors. And that brings us to a fantastic news right now. Sir, please, Mr. Ashish Bhatia, do the honors.
Hey everyone, this is Deepak. Ashish isn't here. I'm a founding partner, at India Accelerator. We were in discussions with Shailendra and excited to be part of the event. What I wanted to kind of share here is that what we promised, to be part of this exciting event is our assessment of what the startups are and an accelerated entry into the Indian Accelerator platform, the India Accelerator platform. So we have gone through some of the pitches, just in terms of intro. India Accelerator, we are a private limited. We have been in operations for 5 years. If I were to describe it in one line, it's a mentorship-driven program providing business growth and funding, right? We spoke about those pillars, those 5 pillars, right? So that's exactly what we do. Just in terms of our numbers, we have supported 150 startups. You heard that in our intro. We were awarded the best accelerator by Startup India earlier this year. And we have 11 verticals that we focus on, right, in terms of supporting the startups. To come back to the topic, what I wanted to do is, share with you that, we're going to take forward Go Khada and Explurge and provide them an entry into our platform to help them with their ask of both business growth and funding. So congratulations to the winners. We do have, as part of the platforms, we do have a number of perks with our tie-ups with a lot of cloud providers. I know you're already on Google, but a lot of other perks. We are part of an entity called Global Accelerator Network, which is in 90 countries. So we can help you with some of the entry into some of those countries and help you with our corporate partnerships, right? As part of our own ecosystem, just 2 minutes, for you to kind of contextualize it. We work with a lot of startups. We work with a lot of academia. We work with a lot of MSMEs. So hopefully we can bring some of those connections to both of these startups. And we are happy to consider a couple of others which we could take offline. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, and Exploger and Go Khana. Congratulations. This is a fantastic, fantastic night. Well, this is exactly what we were talking about here. This is exactly what we wanted. And thank you so much, sir, for making that happen. Well, that brings me to the end of this evening. But before we take your leave, I would request our superstars for the night, our investors. I would request you all to kindly come up on stage for a quick photo op. We won't leave you without a pretty little picture of all of you. Can I request everybody to kindly come up on stage, please? And a huge round of applause with it. Come on, it has to be louder than that. Thank you. Getting a what? I would request our superstars to kindly end this evening with 2 lines about what they witnessed here today, their thoughts about this one-of-a-kind phygital event. If we could have a mic on stage again, please, after the photo op. Can we please have Shailendra on the stage also, please? Thank you. A big round of applause for Mr. Shailendra here. None of this would have been possible without him. Okay, everybody on the count of 3, you have to go DSPN. 1, 2, 3, DSPN. So you take my job. I am loving hearing you. Fantastic. What energy. I love it. Thank you. Can we pass a mic around? Can we have a pass a mic around just to get like 2 lines out of our superstars about your thoughts about this new venture?
So after doing a lot of investments in 2D, it's pleasure to be back here and interacting with everybody in 3D.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So I leave the audience with a thought that we have made a theme in our office every month. So the theme of this month is thought process. So whenever somebody walks up to me with a problem that, we need a solution for this, I never answer the problem directly. I'm trying to give them a thought and then they find out the solutions themselves.
What a great idea.
Right. So I would like to thank everybody who, all the startups which pitched here. They left a lot of thoughts with me. And being a banker, it's, I would say, a lot of interesting ideas I came across today. Thank you.
I think the thought that is crossing my mind at this point is, one of the speakers during one of the breaks I shared that there's a lot of help needed. This is time for India. This is time for the startup ecosystem to contribute to the Indian economy. And I think we need more such forums for all of us to pick together. So, kudos to you.
Yeah, I would like to mention one thing, or a data point which one of our speakers mentioned, that there are very less women entrepreneurs or women ladies on the floor. It was only one. And I was seeing who calls the shot in both of them. You could easily see. So I think that's good. And he also mentioned that women entrepreneurs, if they are in that co-founder team, the success rate goes high. That's pretty good to know. And I believe in that. So next time we should see more women entrepreneurs on the dais.
So first of all, congratulations to Shailendra for executing a wonderful event. As the name suggested, the DSPN and the world's first phygital, am I pronouncing it right? Phygital, the physical and the digital part. Kudos to all the speakers and everyone that has been able to give their valuable advice and suggestions. And as with all the startups, I think all of us on the platform will always wish the best for the startup. We may commit the funding, we may invest or we may not invest, but everyone has a common theme that as an Indian, for an Indian and by the Indian, we want the startup to succeed, create more jobs, create more economy. And with the growth of each one of the startup is the growth for every one of us. I think so. Kudos to all those startups to do that.
So again, a big congratulations to the organizing team. I think first ever Phygital again, but I would also like to congratulate all the startups. I think they are on tough journeys, but they're on very important journeys. So I do hope the event and the questions were useful. And I think I was impressed with the diversity of the founders from 21 years to maybe 45, 50 plus, and just the range of industries. Back to Anshul's point, yes, it would be great to see more women entrepreneurs next time.
Thank you so much for having me here, Shailendra and team. A great event, super exciting stuff. I want to tell something to all the startups who pitched here. I am a startup myself. We are in 6th year of operation. We have raised few 100 crores. I would like to say that I was rejected 20 times before I got my first funding. So it is a part of the process. You learn as you pitch more. You meet more good people, and they help you shape the career, and the growth story is actually beginning there. Fantastic being here, and look forward for more DSPNs.
Fantastic, to more DSPNs.
आवाज ही बहुत है. So, I mean, the one prime thing which you can learn from this guy is that he brought this event in 1.5 to 2 months. He flew from Australia. He had the idea and got it executed. We all lined up behind him. So if this guy can do this kind of an event in 2 months, startups, everything is possible in the world. So hats off to you,
Very
Shailendra,
well
and hats
said.
off to everybody else.
A big
Thank
round
you.
of applause for Mr. Shailendra here again, please. Without his kind words and cooperation, none of this would have been
That's
possible.
the team, not me. मैं तो अभी भी nervous हूँ यार.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
to
guys.
all the superstars. Before you leave, I would like to request all the startups
All
to
the
kindly
startups,
come up
please.
on stage for a lovely photo op with everybody here. We're bridging the gap between you two, the startups and the investors. Can we have everyone on stage, please? All smiles. Can we have the other startups also? All the startups, please. All right, we're going to do a fun little video also. Everybody on the count of 3 is going to say, "Go DSPN." Okay? On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Go DSPN! Fantastic. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. And we leave everyone with a video.
That was me, Pavleen Gujral, signing off. Enjoy this last video. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you.
Can I have the lights, please? And before we go, guys, first of all, let me just say a brief thank you to everyone. Thank you for your time. It was pleasure having you all. There is another last slide, I think, which says thank you. Okay, so next is Mumbai, and we will see you all on 22nd of September in Mumbai. And that's the second episode of the series. Thank you very much. And over to dinner and drinks, guys. Well, I've been asked that all the decks, the pitch decks of these startups will be sent to the investors, and then we will figure out how to get that sorted. But I've been asked twice or thrice,